Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast. It's another Saturday night, and of course, I am joined by some pretty cool people. We have Evan on the left tonight. Evan, how are you tonight?
Doing all right. Don't know about cool, but you know, it's fine.
Then we have Philip to the right. Philip, we missed you last week, but you're here this weekend, so
I know I'm so on and off lately, but it's good to be back. It's very nice to be back this week. Thank you.
Yes, and then you got that pretty sweet fight stick, right? I saw that. I thought that was pretty cool. I saw the thumbnail came up. And I had to check it out, and that is a little nicer than my Tupperware stick.
Yeah, that thing is insane. It is one of the coolest video game controllers I've ever owned. So, and definitely probably the coolest one I have for the Switch. So
you didn't open it up at all, did you? Does it pop open on the bottom or anything?
I am honestly it's too nice for me to even attempt any sort of surgery on that thing. I'd rather just leave that to you. I'll let you handle the openings.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Did you see that? You know how you got that Sonic Mania statue, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice that there's like an LED on it?
On the actual console itself?
Apparently, yeah. People were saying that you can wire it up and it'll work.
It'll work. No,
the LED just works. Yeah.
Maybe the LED works. I thought you meant the console for a second.
Oh, no. The LED works. People thought it was really funny. You could wire it up and the LED will actually come on. So
that would be awesome. That'd be cool.
That's pretty funny.
Hook that up. Yeah.
And then we have a newcomer this week who's never been on SpawnCast. It's Rob from Rule 2 Review.
Yes, you got it. Rule 2 Review,
yes.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Rob, why don't you tell us about your channel a little bit real quick, man, before we start?
Oh, yeah, sure. So again, my name's Rob. The channel I run is called Rule of 2 Review, and it's, pretty much just me talking about most things gaming. I do spend the majority of my time on Nintendo, of course, and it's definitely a good time to talk about Nintendo with the Switch out and more positive news for Nintendo than we've had in the last couple of years. So that's been pretty great. But that's it. It's pretty long-form stuff. I'm long-winded, so you get a lot of kind of like mini podcasts, I like to think, for myself, about 15 minutes, just BSing about things going on, and that's pretty much it.
That's good stuff. So you usually can get some good discussions going in the comments then.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think so. I'm pretty proud of my comment section usually. You get a lot of good back and forth stuff. So we have fun.
Nice. Very good. So what have you guys all been playing this week so far? Anything good? I can start with Evan over there because I know you're playing a bunch. I already know what you're going to say.
Well,
you've already told me, and this is going to be interesting because you have a completely different view on this game.
Well, yeah, because I still don't like it. But all my friends started to pick up PlayerUnknown's Battleground, and I got to the point where I was like, look, I'm either going to play this game that I like with no one I know, or play this other game over here with people that I know. So I'm playing both now at the same time, playing Gigantic and Battlegrounds. It's still whatever, but it's just us running around yelling at each other at this point, which is great for us as a group. It's kind of what we always do.
Wait, did the Defenders come out this week, Evan? I just saw your
yesterday
comments. Did it really? Oh, I gotta watch that.
I binged it till 3 a.m.
Oh gosh. so Evan, why did you say you don't like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds? What was
it's
it?
just the pacing, the style. It's kind of unfun for me. Even if you drop into a town for the combat, you're only getting about 5-6 minutes of real combat. Then you get to play a 15-minute walking simulator, and it's all right, I don't. This isn't.
So you're more like you would probably like the Quake Champions game then.
Yeah, I prefer the arena shooters always. Okay. The Gigantic's an arena game. You know where people are, you respawn in the same area, and it's a fight till the end, till an actual finish, not just a single life event.
See, I haven't played PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, but it kind of reminds me of the Hunger Games whenever I watch Twitch.
Yeah, well, it's Battle Royale, but I don't think you've seen that movie.
What's that?
Battle Royale?
No, I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah.
No.
That's the pre-Hunger Games Hunger Games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that. No, I haven't even seen Hunger Games. There you go. But Philip, what are you? All right, Philip. I know what you said you've been playing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. What else have you been playing this week, man? I know you've been playing Sonic Mania.
Oh yeah, a ton of that. I mean, basically anything that works with that stick. To tell you the truth, I've been playing a ton of Sonic, a ton of Namco Museum, surprisingly, just to get the old school games.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man and Splatterhouse and stuff. Those are games that I've never really spent too much time with. And now that I actually have this stick, I've been investing a lot of time with. But the game that I've been really sort of spending most of my time with this week, and hating it all the entire time, was The Troll and I, actually.
You actually played that game?
I paid money for that game.
What? You paid $30 for that game?
Mistakes were made.
You're a brave soul.
Yeah, I know. I went in kind of blind. I mean, I knew I wasn't expecting much. I was sort of expecting bad things, but I wasn't expecting a game that I would delete 2 hours after downloading it, basically.
Did you really?
Yeah, essentially I did, because I had to restart the game twice. I ran into 2 game-breaking glitches within the first 2 hours, and then I just gave up. I deleted the game, and then I saw Sean RGT85's review the next day, and then I was just like, yeah, I'm never going back. Just forget it.
Oh man, that game, dude! I actually played that game on the PS4 when it came out because it was hilarious. They had it set up at a Walmart as like a demo for some reason, and it was so bad. And it played like that on the PS4. I couldn't imagine how it was going to even come out on the Switch when it was running like 15 frames per second on the PS4.
It's not even the frame rate, that bothers me too much. Like I'm not that picky when it comes to a game running bad. If it's a good game deep down inside, I'll play through the game. But the game itself is just very, very bad. It seems like it was made by 4 college kids who are just getting into game design. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a lot of testing put into it. It doesn't feel like there was a lot of love put into that game at all, really. So
yeah, I know. All right, so has everyone here played Sonic Mania except for Evan, because he's one of those PC people?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everybody else play, yeah. So what do you guys think about Sonic Mania then?
I think it's great.
It's an outstanding game, isn't it? It makes you feel like you're like 10 again or whatever.
Oh yeah, like the nostalgia factor is like through the roof, obviously, on Sonic Mania, which is like everything every review has said about it, but it's super true. It's great. I mean, it makes me feel like I'm 12 years old again playing the first Sonic.
You should have seen John freak out when it went Mean Bean Machine on him.
Dude, that was I didn't want to spoil it for anybody, but that boss fight was, I mean, it's like the third boss fight or something. It's early on, but that was insane. I did not expect to like drop down and then all of a sudden it kicks over to Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine as like a very creative boss battle. That was awesome. It threw me so much when I saw that.
Yeah, that threw me too. I'll say when I was playing that, it took me about probably 5 seconds to really grasp what happened. I was like, wait, okay, I'm stuck. Why am I in this box? Why is Robotnik's just kicking next to me? What is happening? And once they started to fall, like your brain just kind of clicks and you're like, this is what's happening? Okay, this should be interesting. And it's actually, that game is really hard for me to play because I'm colorblind. So I was kind of like, man, this is bringing back bad nightmares. I had to really focus on the shapes and not so much the colors, but I took care of it. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was just a really odd, because right to get up to that point, you're speeding through the pipes, then all of a sudden you drop down and everything just kind of slows down and it becomes like that Tetris style game.
Mm-hmm. But that game just has so much fan service. I mean, but that's what you get when you have a game that's created by the fans, is a game that's full of, attention to detail and things like, love, I guess, when it comes down to it. So
isn't it? Well, here, I mean, you saw who made it, right?
I don't know the specific team, but I know that it's made by people who grew up playing Sonic.
It's made by fans, a lot a
lot of it.
They brought in Christian Whitehead, right? Isn't he the spearheader of that thing?
Yeah, they brought in a bunch of fans, and they're basically like, well, we're not gonna be able to make a Sonic game. Why don't you guys make it if you think it's so easy? And then Sonic Mania comes out.
Yeah,
it's great. And now, I mean, they really should have. It's a shame they put out Sonic 4, because that would have been perfect to name that Sonic 4. So it gets Sonic Mania, which I guess is technically Sonic 4 in my eyes, because I didn't like Sonic 4 as much. And then this game comes out. It's priced really well at $20, and it's just a good game overall. And it was like 180 megs to download or something. It was so easy.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see now how Sonic Forces is going to perform compared to this. Like,
everybody's curious about that. Yeah,
brought any sort of excitement back to the series. You know what I mean? And I feel like it really did, especially for Switch gamers out there. Especially,
there's a lot of people who prefer that 3D look. Like there are. I know it sounds weird, but like I think if you're a certain age right now and you grew up with Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, again, which sounds weird, but if you were like 8 or 9 then. Now you're looking back on a 2D Sonic as something that's like super old. You want the 3D Sonic.
Right, exactly. And I grew up playing the 2D Sonics, but I also, when I got older, I played Sonic Adventures as well. So playing a 3D Sonic would be nice, but still, like, I kind of feel like a lot of people have just been burned so much by a 3D Sonic. It was just very nice to have this return to form, to reboot the series almost is kind of what it felt like to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now you wonder if some other companies should start looking into fans to help them with some of the games if they can't get it right. Because, some of the people who develop some of these games that the companies hire don't have an emotional attachment to that franchise, whereas fans seem to. So they put in a little extra time and effort, and even you could even say love of the franchise into that game. It almost makes you wonder, should like a company that maybe has a hard time making some of these games go out and bring in fans who develop fan games for them?
Right, absolutely. I think it's just a fantastic idea. I think that that's a great start to sort of bring life back into old franchises that have started losing what made them special to begin with, So
I think I'd like to see that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any examples off the top of my head. Sonic was the easiest pick. Like if we weren't talking about Sonic Mania, we're talking about something else right now, I would say go get fans and help you make Sonic. But I mean,
feel like Castlevania is probably a series, if that was ever going to, cross our fingers, return to gaming. That's one I could probably make use of that, you know. And I feel like Castlevania was kind of trending in an okay sort of path when it went away and Konami became Konami. Like that run of whatever 4, 5, 6 handheld games like across the GBA and DS, like those were so good. And there were some people that seemed to know like what old school Castlevania felt like. And then of course Konami did do the Konami thing, and if they focused more on those kinds of games, and if they ever wanted to bring something like that back, like they did with Bomberman, for example, that could be great. And it's just one of those old school series, just like Sonic, that I think people would really, really get attached to if it was done well.
Yeah, I mean, Castlevania makes sense. I could see that definitely, but I don't know. It's hard to say other than that. I've really any 2D. I guess any games that were 2D at one point, you kind of say that about.
I feel like I don't know, Mega Man. You know, I mean, I know we've all been talking about a new Mega Man coming back, and I feel like this could be a good opportunity. You know, with the Switch being out and retro games sort of shining now more than ever, why not try and bring Mega Man back, and bring it to the Switch? Yeah,
Mega Man would be awesome, but Capcom. Capcom's Capcom right now.
Konami is Konami. Capcom is Capcom. Yep. We're in such a mess right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Konami needs to make sure their pachinko machines are working right.
Yeah, that's true.
So bad. Oh man. So, Evan, have you might pick up Sonic Mania? You think maybe?
Well, probably. I mean, Sonic was never really a big thing in my history, not as much as yours. But I mean, as a game, it definitely feels like now it's probably at its best, just because specifically of the player versus player function in it. The whole like race to the end, get the high score type deal, that's what I really feel like makes that game shine. Because I don't know, speed running it, trying to get through levels, it felt more like it was memory to me, kind of like a Super Meat Boy run. You like trying to get through the moments, and then if you keep failing, you go back and you try to get it as fast as you can go. It's never interested me as much as the beating someone else at it.
Well, I got to say, the level design in this version of Sonic is probably the best level design in their entire like franchise history. This is some really good level design in there.
Yeah, there's a lot more exploration, it feels like, in this version of Sonic. Like, there's so many more paths you can go to. You can complete the level multiple different ways. So I think that's something that I wasn't expecting coming into Sonic.
Yeah, that's been really surprising. Also, I don't know if you noticed, like, a lot of the levels have more, like, tricks and gadgets that kind of propel you in different ways than ever before. And that's been really neat, too.
Yeah, they were really creative with some of those. Really, there was some of them, like, I remember there was the water level that was really cool that I did. That was, like, one of, like, the first one or two. And then they changed the color of water, and either you have the bubble that can give you a better bounce or not. That depends on which part of the level you're running through. And there was so much to it it's really hard to believe somebody sits down and designs a level like that.
Did you guys figure out how to open up like the dev mode or
the debug mode? Yeah, that was actually in the older Sonic games. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was kind of neat. Somebody sent it to me on Twitter. I didn't actually try it yet, but it looked like what I remember, where you can go through and do all the level selects, sound test, and everything.
Yeah, it's just really nice to be able to jump in wherever you want. Like, just go straight to supersonic mode if you want to, or whatever.
I was gonna say, I'm glad they did like a supersonic mode. I wasn't sure if they were gonna do that, but
that was awesome.
Gotta have supersonic, man.
Yeah, supersonic is a big deal. When I first turned it on, I was like, I hope supersonic's in this game.
I don't know. It's kind of funny though. I guess they put Super Tails and Super Knuckles in, but they don't have like different character sprites for them. They just have superpowers where they can fly around and go real fast, but they look the same, which I think is kind of lame.
Oh, okay, it's interesting. Yeah. What do you make different colors, like contrasting colors, or whatever? Will just be yellow.
Yeah, I just wanted Tails to come out with like this gigantic emo red, wave hair in his band, just be like, "I'm Tails," So it wasn't that though. It's just normal.
Oh man. So Philip, what game did we talk about before we came on air that is probably the worst game on the system?
God, I deleted the name of the game out of my brain, but it's hovered bike game.
Skyride.
Yeah, Skyride. Yes. Oh man, wow, what a scary game, really. For multiple different reasons. One, because it exists, number one, and two, because Nintendo allowed it on their system, which to me is I don't know. It's a little. It's a sign of almost kind of why are they just letting anything come on the Switch? You know what I mean? Like, they should sort of be a little bit more protective of what's coming on their system, because I feel like if I just bought a Switch yesterday and I saw this like $7 game come up, ooh, it's like hover bikes. Oh, I'll try it out. And I downloaded it, and that was like my second Switch game or first Switch game. I'd have a really bad taste in my mouth after playing it.
I felt a sense of like service and duty to like make a video for it just so people wouldn't buy it, because it's that bad. At least like people are saying Troll and I. At least Troll and I has a menu system.
Yeah,
this game does not have a menu system. You turn it on, and once you go into the game, it starts. Like, there is no like new game or continue or options. It just starts.
Yeah, there's no real even point to the game. There's no real levels. From what I've played of it, I played for 5 minutes and then I deleted it right away just because I didn't want to waste any time.
It's bad. It's like I think Vroom is better than this game.
It looks like it is. Yeah, I personally didn't play Vroom. I thought I'd give this one a shot, but then when I tried it, I was like, wow, I can't even imagine what Vroom would be like. So
yeah, it's Vroom, at least again, has a menu system. You hit new game to start or start game. No menu system here. It's the weird. It feels like an unfinished game.
Wow,
that just found its way onto the marketplace, and it's a weird price, right? I think that's on purpose, trying to catch your eye. It's $7 instead of like $9.99 or $14.99 or $12.99. It's just 7 and then 2 zeros.
Right.
I think it's on purpose for it to stand out.
Probably.
But terrible game. I don't even know who designed it. I have to look this up because it's bad. It's like I swear it feels like it's a game from, because it's I think it's built on Unity, but it's almost like they took assets from the Unity store and just flipped it into like a terrible high score leaderboard game.
Right.
What does it like play like? Because I haven't seen it or really know what it's like. Are you like standing? Are you a guy standing on a board?
No, you're riding around on like a hover bike, but you can't look up and you can't look down. There's a circle in front of you that you move. It is third person. There's some of the worst controls, by the way, too. It's one of those ones where if you press up on the left stick, your entire board will ascend, and then you press down, it descends, and then left and right make you move like this, and then you hit. It's hard to describe, but left and right on the right joystick makes you kind of turn with your reticule. It's like tank controls done in like the 90s.
It just seems broken, immediately broken right away.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to play, very frustrating. Just the kind of game that makes you wonder, like, why did they even try, you know?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this because, again, like you're saying, what kind of filter system is in place here with Nintendo? Because I have no idea how that got on there. It really makes no sense.
Because we've heard of other devs, talking about, oh, we're just waiting to get through Nintendo's certification process. It's taking a lot longer than expected. But these guys just, showed up. It's like, how did you get this virus on the Switch? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm worried.
Yeah,
I don't want to
agree with you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I just don't want to see the Switch turn into another shovelware console like the Wii essentially became, and I guess what the PS4 is slowly turning into. So it's just too early for it. It's too early.
Yeah, that's my whole thing is it kind of gives me like weird nightmares of like, and I know we're going way far back and it's probably not really relevant to the Switch, but if you remember, that's kind of what the problem was back like in the Atari days, right? Is like there was no level of quality control. It was a different video game industry, but that's kind of how you got so much random stuff that wasn't licensed and wasn't paid attention to. And there was so much of that stuff back in those days. And Nintendo kind of changed that when they came back and saved everything in the 80s. But then you also make the comparison to like the Wii and the shovelware stuff there. And it's like you kind of worry, is there something similar? Like how the Atari had no filter and the Wii had a less of a filter? And could the Switch possibly be in like a similar situation, which would be really scary and dangerous? I doubt it, but it kind of makes you wonder that,
Yeah, but if you see like the PS4, I know Jim Sterling did a whole video on it. The PS4's marketplace looks really bad as well. Like I
saw that, yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Like I don't know how they let some of this stuff on there. It's very weird.
But like it makes that Black Tiger game was like the big one that kind of blew it open, and then it's like, hey, let's see what else is there. Oh, look, lots of trash.
Yep, and Sony actually advertised that on their YouTube channel.
So weird.
So it makes you wonder what's going on here with that. It's hard to say how some of these companies operate. I did talk to the Andrew from Rainway, and he said they've been pretty good about it, and that they actually check pretty well into these applications and games before they really put them out. So it makes me wonder if Nintendo just, I guess, okayed that and let it go. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why they would. It's just very odd.
I mean, Vroom is still up there on the eShop, right? Like they
but
take it
like I
down.
look at Vroom and I'm like, all right, it's a bad game, sure, but it has a beginning, it has an end, and then it has a menu, which this game does not
It's all
have.
about that menu.
Yeah, apparently.
It feels like when I do the video tomorrow and I start it, it's gonna feel so broken. Like it doesn't feel like a complete game.
I think it's
so
safe
weird.
to say that it's the worst game on the Switch, right? Like I'm trying to think
so,
of a
yeah.
worst game, but I really think that's
And this
just
is
it.
Vroom, not the hoverboard one.
Oh no, this is the hoverboard
Oh,
game.
this is still the
Skyride.
hoverboard. Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, the only problem I have with it doesn't feel like a complete game. So to me, it's the worst game on the system. And apparently there's leaderboards, but it's like local leaderboards, so you're not like going online with them or something. I don't know. It just doesn't. It felt like it took them 10 minutes.
I'm so baffled by this no menu thing. Like I imagine like you start the game from your Switch, and before you know it, you're just going.
Yep,
Like
that's what happens. Yeah.
That's so weird to me.
It's a little
Yep.
jarring, yeah, because the second it opens up, like it looks almost like a title screen, but then you're just playing. So
Yeah.
you just,
Psych! Now you're controlling.
It's basically like, hey, press a button, and then you press a button, and then you're playing, and it's like, whoa, what? Like, there's no like continue, new game, option menu, nothing. It's the weirdest thing, and then the controls are bad. It's the whole thing. Like, it's just not good. It's not, and the graphics they're really bad too. And the whole point of the game is you're on a hover bike, and these cubes are flying at you, and you're trying to shoot them. So I have a machine gun, I have rockets, I have lasers, I have everything. And then if you tap the machine gun button, it never turns off. It just keeps going. But aiming is so bad because you can't look up or down underneath of you. So you're not like flying around like dogfighting or anything. You're just going straight and hoping that you can see stuff around you. And it's the weirdest thing. Yeah, like I said, it's so hard to describe it. But like I said, I'll record.
I'm trying to look it up, and I'm trying to find it and just like look at screenshots of it, and I'm not finding anything yet.
I have video.
Skyride, 2 words. The company that made it's Mutin. Apparently, they mostly have just done. They just do localizations up till this point. Like they've just done localizations of games, specifically the Atelier. That's all they've really done. So this is
the anime-like games. Atelier?
Yeah. So this almost sounds like it's their first attempt at being like we can program, and then I guess realize that they can't.
I wonder if I can do this. I haven't tried this yet. I wonder if I can like screen share because this is supposed to let me do it. I wonder if I can like screen share because I captured like 10, 15 minutes of me playing this game. I wonder if I can do that on Google Hangouts because I think it lets you.
I think the last time you tried this, you messed up your end of the Hangouts program.
Podcast suddenly just ends.
Like I feel like it didn't work last time I tried it.
I think is this game like a side scroller? Or is that the perspective of it?
No, it's third person camera. It's just behind. It's almost like a bullet hell third person. The camera looks really janky. Doesn't actually follow you that well, and you're just
like
consistently
a sin and punishment, maybe.
Yeah.
Or
you're just consistently being shot at from all angles, and you just got to dodge things while shooting back and get a high score.
Okay, weird.
Let me see. I was trying to see if I can get this to actually share with you guys. I don't know if you can actually see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it's actually going to show you guys, but that's the game right there.
That's the map. You just get stuck on it. That's your whole game right there.
That's the whole game. See those cubes that are flying after you? Yeah.
Oh wow.
This is me. I captured this yesterday or this morning.
It looks like, and I would normally say this lovingly, but in this scenario and hearing you guys describe it, this looks like a really bad 64 game.
Yeah,
like a Nintendo 64 game.
I don't know if the frame rate looks really bad, you guys. That's not the actual.
It does.
The frame rate.
That's not the actual frame rate. I think it's just Google the way it shares it.
Gotcha.
It runs at 60 frames, I think, the entire time. But
the smoothness does not help.
But when you see that cursor right there, it stays inside that circle the entire time. It cannot leave that circle, so you can't look up or down. Like you realize I'm not looking up or down. It's because I can't.
Yeah.
And that's the entire game. Like you just do that. You never leave this map. And that enemy count always goes up from 86 and up, no matter how many you destroy.
Wow.
There is no other map, right? Like that's the only level.
That's
right?
it.
That's one of the many sins it looks like it commits. There's only one map, man. No one can play that for more than 10 minutes.
Let me see if I can stop. Okay, there we go.
One
All right,
map,
cool.
One
Sweet.
character, just
Hey, it's good to know I can do that. I've never tried that. That's the first time I've tried that on here. So
yeah, it worked. It was definitely really, really bad frame rate, but it definitely worked.
There you go. That's pretty cool, actually. I'll remember that. I wish Google Hangouts, I don't know if it's just like that. I don't know why the frame rate. You know what? Maybe because it was 60 and Google Hangouts records at a different frame rate. I don't know. I'm not sure that works. But anyway, yes, that game is bad. Yes, that is a new game, and that game, guys,
Do not buy.
Is $7. It is $2 more than Kamiko.
Wow.
and that's pretty bad. And Evan, who made it?
Mutan. Mutan.
A well-known company, Mutan. Pretty bad.
I have some kind of semi-interesting or very interesting semi-breaking news. Just broke about like an hour ago. I guess there's a demo of Pokken Tournament DX coming to the eShop very soon, as of the official Pokemon Twitter account. Demo
Very
coming soon to Nintendo eShop. That's what it says.
Well, that's like a Pokemon Day or something I think is happening for Pokemon right now, right? So maybe that's why.
Probably,
like
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I went to GameStop and they're like, "Oh, it's Pokemon Day, didn't you know?" And like had Pokemon cards or something. So that's happening. Maybe that's why they announced it.
That's interesting. I didn't even know there was like a Pokemon Day. Cool. Huh.
It's a genius idea because I mean, it was a Wii U game. Not a lot of people had a Wii U, so it's going to be a good idea to get a lot of people to experience this. Because I'm sure a lot of people are curious. What's a Pokemon fighting game like? Well, it's actually pretty good.
It sounds
it's supposed to be good, I hear. Yeah.
But Nintendo is kind of fortunate the Wii U flopped as hard as it did because they can go get these games from the Wii U and put them out on the Switch now pretty easily.
It's like they have this already made library of games that nobody's played and they can just port them right over.
Yep.
And that's like such the weird story of the console, right? Because they have all these games that were actually really, really good. And so then the whole mystery of like, well, why didn't the system so well? The marketing and all these other things. But you're kind of right. Like it really puts them in an oddly fortunate situation. Like all the bad things that happened with the Wii U are making everything so much better and easier for them now. And one of the things is like, 15 really excellent first-party Nintendo games that came out on the Wii U. So it's pretty cool.
The Wii U had great first-party games.
It did,
just the third party hurt it. But the Switch, I think, will get a significant amount more third-party support. And they can just pull from those. I mean, Mario Kart sold so well on the Switch already, and it was on the Wii U. It sold a ton on the Wii U. So you're going to see that probably, I think, anyway. You'll see a lot of the Wii U games come over. Like, I'd be shocked if we don't hear about a Bayonetta game before the end of the year. And it's
I've been hoping. That's one of the few like Wii U remaster ideas that I've been all about. Like bringing a Bayonetta 1 and 2, like, that'd be so good.
Yeah, it's portable, so why not? I mean, it gives it an extra element that we didn't have with the Wii U. Sure, it was kind of portable on the Wii U, but not really. You can't walk 10 feet away from your system. And it's interesting because like Philip is like the living embodiment of the person who they are targeting because Philip did not have a Wii U. But he has a Switch.
Yes. Yes. I know. It's crazy.
What was you had an original Wii, right? You didn't have the Wii U.
I had an original Wii and I've had every other Nintendo console, even a Virtual Boy. But I skipped the Wii U just because that's where they lost me. But they got me right back with the Switch.
That was a calculated decision by you. Like, I do not want a Wii U. So you like,
as
opposed to just it never happened. You're just like, I don't want one kind of thing.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, not this time. Sorry, Nintendo. Like not this time.
Yeah, because you had a PS4 and a PC, I assume, right? An Xbox One?
I was content. I mean, I have a PS4 and an Xbox One, and I just got a PC like a year ago that can play games.
Did you build it or you buy a pre-built one?
I built it.
Oh, wow, nice. Good job.
Yeah, it was my first PC that I'd ever built too, which was very scary. But, yeah.
Well, it's scary because you were handling some pretty expensive parts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know that 1080 was a good chunk of money.
Yeah, I started with a 980 and then I got a 1080 pretty recently.
Okay, very good. But while we're on the topic of the Xbox, let's talk about it because it's been under some fire recently, mostly because of Crackdown 3 got canceled and people kind of lost
necessarily pushed back.
Well, it got canceled for this year. It was going to be coming this year. They pretty much wipe it from their release calendar for this year, and then it gets pushed back. So it gets moved back to sometime in 2018. And what I meant to say there is people are worried right now that Crackdown 3 is going to be canceled. Because we've seen this happen before with other things where they keep getting pushed back, then it's canceled. And then, of course, we see Scalebound get canceled. So right now, people are looking at Microsoft, and they are just absolutely terrified that Crackdown 3 is going to get canceled. I don't think it will because they've put too much into that game.
No way,
But the problem is people who are playing it at E3, for example, came away saying it just did not play well. Even on, I guess they were probably, I assume they were playing it on PCs that were kind of hidden underneath the table. they could have been played on Xboxes, but apparently even there, it was so like it just wasn't running well. Frame rate was bad. It just wasn't what they thought it was going to be. Remember how they showed that whole thing about destructible environments where the buildings would come down,
player versus player, everyone was jumping through the buildings, blowing everything up, and everything in the city collapsed all at once. Yeah,
it looked great. Like every piece of that building would come apart separately, and it was like this big physics-based rendering show they put on I think it was E3 2014. And we've been waiting for it ever since. And then they showed us this past E3. It doesn't have the same physics-based rendering that they were talking about before. But people at the show still said that the people there who were running the demos were like, oh, it's still in it. It's just not here. So, and then it gets pushed back, which people were positive that was going to be a game that comes out alongside the Xbox One X, and was going to kind of push it along.
Well, they had the same release date, I think, too.
Yes, like November 7th. Yeah. Well, I think was for Crackdown 3. Yeah. So it was going to come out, and it makes sense because that's a system alongside of a Crackdown 3, which I'm almost positive will run better on the Xbox One X because it's a big open world style game. I'm sure it will probably hit close to 4K or 4K at 30 frames, and that's a reason to buy that system is because Crackdown 3 is probably going to run kind of poorly on the Xbox One original, I would assume.
It's just really scary to see Microsoft in this position. Just because it just seems like they're shedding games left and right. Like they lost Scalebound a while ago, and then they just sort of gave up on Phantom Dust. They're just like, oh, it's free. Like, here it is. Don't hate us. Yeah, like, because that's totally not the game they said they were making. They were like, we are remaking Phantom Dust. Like they were like, we are bringing that back. It's going to be awesome.
And they had that 20-minute interview where the guy was like, well, it looked really cool in the past, so it's fine now still. I'm pretty sure it is.
Exactly. And now, like, Crackdown's not canceled, but it's pushed back, like, all the way to next year. Like, it just seems like they're falling apart, and that's really scary. It's not good. It doesn't matter if you're a Nintendo fanboy, Sony fanboy, or whatever. It's just not good for video games to see companies like falling apart.
Yeah, we actually need more than 3 people in the console wars right now. We need more than 3 companies. We should have like 4 or 5, and that would be perfect. But we're stuck with 3, and then if one decides to fall out, and we have 2, especially if it's like a Sony and like, let's say it is Sony and Nintendo that are left, and Microsoft leaves. That's actually terrible because they're not in direct competition with each other, so they'll each do whatever they want, and it won't matter. Like, they'll kind of start gouging prices. They'll just start I mean, like, I would be shocked if Microsoft left the console generation. I would not be shocked if Sony was all of a sudden like, well, the PSN's $100 a year now. So
yeah. I mean, I'm in 100% agreement with you guys too. Like, and I discussed this on a video I made about it, whatever, yesterday as well. It does terrify me to think about losing Microsoft, and it's not because like I absolutely love Microsoft. I like them. I have an Xbox One, and I super enjoy my Xbox One, but it's just for so many reasons. Like, it's not fun to see failure. Maybe like the wrong kind of fanboys out there like love that stuff, and they just eat it up. Ooh, the system I don't like is destroyed. Bye bye. But like, for most people with a more mature perspective, like, that's not really interesting, and it's sad, and people lose jobs. And also, like, John, what you're saying, it definitely negatively impacts, I think, the other guys who are left in the business. And Sony and Microsoft being more direct competition with each other, that's where Sony can possibly see that opportunity to start taking advantage while they're the only ones doing exactly what they're doing. Because you're right, like Nintendo and Sony, they're 2 powerful Japanese game companies, but they aren't exactly going after like the same market and the same kind of thing. And it would become sad. It would become really scary. It could just become like just a super unhealthy thing for the video game industry. I've loved having 3 main players for whatever 15, 16 years or whatever since Microsoft joined. I get a little bit weird thinking about if like a 4th or 5th player could come in, and you might be right on that. And I discussed it myself also in a video, like when Atari started announcing their thing, like, are they making a serious attempt to jump in and be on the same level as Nintendo and Sony and all that? Or are they doing like a retro thing? And you have to remember, like, when Microsoft jumped in, it wasn't too long after that Sega left. And that is a little bit tricky because Sega obviously created a lot of their own problems that kicked them out of the industry, but it's entirely possible that it got really flooded in the early 2000s, and that's when Sega was like, yeah, no one's interested in us anymore. So I would welcome as many companies who could do it, like Atari or Valve, if they wanted to jump in. But more than anything, like, yeah, I do agree with you guys. Losing Microsoft, I think, would only ever be a bad thing. Even if you hate Microsoft, I think it would be a way bad thing. So I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect Microsoft to leave because they've so the big reason I think that they dumped everything into one platform. If you look at it, they're really selling a platform in Windows 10 because that's what the Xbox is running. That's what obviously a lot of computers, not everyone, is running. And I think the reason they did that, and it kind of lines up with the timetable. So back in 2014, when they appointed a new CEO, because Bill Gates was kind of stepping back and he didn't really want to be a part of the board anymore. So they go out and they start shopping around for a new CEO after the old one essentially left. And they bring him in. And the first thing the investors do is they lean on him hard to get rid of three things. They want to get rid of the Bing search engine. They want to get rid of the Surface line of devices, the Surface, the
tablets
Surface 3,
or whatever?
the tablets. Yeah, they want to get rid of those, and then they want to get rid of the Xbox division. They want to get rid of those three things because they see those things as the biggest cost that they have, and they want to shed, some of the fat that's not bringing in money. Because several insiders have been coming out for years saying the Xbox division doesn't actually make Microsoft really any substantial profit or money at all. Most times, it either breaks even or loses money. Yeah, and that's what a lot of these people the problem is Microsoft doesn't tell us anything about their financials when it comes to the Xbox. What they tell us about is their gaming division, right? And that's their division for PC games that they sell through their Windows Store, any accessories, anything like that they sell all gets lumped in this one thing. And they can tell us that's profitable because, well, anything they sell in their Windows Store is much easier for them to swallow since they don't have to produce a disc for it. They don't have to ship these games out. It's all digital. Whereas the Xbox is both digital and physical, and there's a lot more cost there. So they can talk about a profit there, but I think the real reason they wanted to do that is to kind of protect the Xbox division from investors, because they can spin it now to investors as, look, the Xbox is part of the gaming division that's actually making us money now, and that's why they're making everything cross-platform with the PC and Windows 10.
That's interesting, yeah. It makes a lot of sense business-wise. I never really thought of it that way, and it's too bad because the perspective, like at least in the gaming community, you guys have probably seen is the whole Xbox and Windows 10 crossplay. Like people are really down on that idea and they see it only as a drawback. But internally, you actually bring up a good point. Maybe that's meant to actually try to keep the Xbox line afloat because it's better to have it wrapped under one umbrella, I think is how you're describing it. And that makes a lot of sense, actually.
That's the problem, though. Microsoft's in a situation where if they stick with that, they're never going to sell more systems than Nintendo or Sony, because those two systems will always have exclusives that aren't available anywhere else. So, like I don't need to buy an Xbox if I have a PC. I may need to go buy a Nintendo Switch or PS4 if I want to play something like Persona or if I want to play something like Mario Odyssey. I have to go buy those. I can't do it anywhere else. Whereas, let's say Halo 6 launches and, oh, look, PC support. Well, good. I don't need to go buy a $300 or a $500 Xbox One X to play this game. I can just load it up and spend $60 and play it on my really sweet computer,
Do you guys think in like 3, 4, 5 years, like maybe when we're seeing a PS5, do you think Microsoft will make another Xbox after the One X? Do you think that's possible?
I'm actually, believe it or not, this sounds crazy, I'm actually positive Microsoft is going to be the one to kickstart the next generation.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Sony. I don't think Sony cares because I wouldn't care if I was them either because they sell so many PS4s. It just doesn't matter to them. I'm honestly surprised they even went with the PS4 Pro. It's the weirdest thing to me.
So you think Microsoft might release the Xbox One X and then be the next ones to release another console?
Yeah, because it'd be pretty quick.
Because from what I've been hearing everywhere and some insider people, Microsoft has almost done the next Xbox already. Or at least that's planning stages. Yeah, they're already done the planning stages. And I don't even know if they're going to go with Vega necessarily. I think they may stick with Polaris with a better CPU, and that'll be enough to get them to 4K at 60 or 4K 30 across the board anyway.
I do think the point you bring up though about Sony still is like really valid. Because there is the rumors about a PS5, right? And some people want to say like, oh, it could be like 2019 or whatever that we might see a PS5. But to me, because of the point you made, it's been hard for me to believe that they would release it that soon. I mean, the PS4 is having no struggles to sell like crazy. I mean, it's beating the Switch. Every other month, it's like the Switch sold the most, and then the PS4 sold the most. Like they're just not struggling, and it's one of those things where usually you would think if they started to see a decline in PS4 sales, that's when they're like, well, we got to kickstart the next thing. Microsoft, again, to your point, is the ones who you would think might need a newer system sooner than later, especially because the One X right now doesn't seem like it's going to have much going for it. So,
well, Microsoft already has proven why Sony shouldn't even talk about another system right now, because the moment that
I agree with that too.
The moment Microsoft announced the Xbox One X, notice that the Xbox One sales started to decline, as we've heard, at least as we try to hear, because Microsoft doesn't tell us numbers anymore ever since they started really losing badly to Sony. They don't tell us, but it seems like people are now like, oh, cool, let's wait for the Xbox One X. But how many people are really going to buy a $500 system when it comes out that plays the same games as the regular Xbox One? Because as far as I can tell, I'm one of the only people that I talk to outside off of the internet that is actually going to buy the system. Like, I'm going to buy an Xbox One X, and that's fine, partly because of what I do on the channel, and partly because I want to see how good this thing's going to be. I just don't know a lot of mainstream consumers that are going to walk into the store and be like, I got to get this $500 system.
It's a very, very scary time for not just Microsoft, but like video games. Not scary, but more so confusing, just because of this whole half generation like step that all these, you know, companies seem to be making. And I don't know. I just think that Microsoft, for them to sort of think that another console is the answer, I think that's a huge mistake. I think it's very evident that what they're lacking is games. It's very evident that they're lacking first-party support, and they can, you know, bring out the beefiest, most powerful Xbox, you know, that anyone wants, you know, for their next Xbox. But if it doesn't have any games on it, no one's gonna buy it. It doesn't matter. Like, if Halo's also on the PC now and so is Gears, then I don't care about the next Xbox. I'll just buy the next PlayStation and keep upgrading my PC. You know, it's cheaper that way too.
Games sell hardware. Hardware doesn't sell hardware.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's the way I would look at it.
Made me wonder if that's what's made me wonder if like their whole purpose with the Xbox One X is the fact that maybe they felt like they started to lose this race to Sony because they didn't have the most powerful console, which would kind of make, if that was true, maybe make the One X like this really like egregious case of overcompensation where they're like, oh, we lost the power. All the power, now sell that. Like, there you go. That people will buy it now because it's got all the power, right? And you make a good point. It's the games that it's really been hurting them. It's not been the power. And maybe they've been confused on that. Which is
maybe
sad.
It seems like they're just catering to third parties and hoping, because of the audience they've built on the Xbox One, that the third parties will help them the rest of the generation, and that they will only have to release like another 3 exclusives, and that's it.
That's crazy though. Like, Sony has Destiny, you know? Like, do they have Assassin's Creed as well, or is that you know?
Actually, I think that is Xbox. Is that right? Is that one of the ones
Assassin's Creed is covered by Xbox. Like, they're going to do media and everything for that. Okay. They have all the marketing for that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, for the most part, I feel like Sony's been really doing well with third parties. You know,
and Call of Duty is
Call
Sony.
of Duty. Yeah, exactly. So stuff like that. So if that's Microsoft's mentality, they're doing a terrible job at it. You know, like, they really are. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on.
Yep. They don't seem to care about the Eastern audience either. In Japan, for example. Yeah. Don't care at all. And it's weird because they had a game that I think appealed to the audience a little bit with Scalebound, and they pretty much canceled that game completely with these odd answers like it just wasn't going to work out, or there were issues with it or something, which is weird because, again, Crackdown's had issues for a while and they've been delaying it for a while. So I feel like they could have delayed Scalebound, but maybe there were creative differences. We'll never know what actually happened, more than likely, unless a developer is fired and then they come out and say, oh, this is what happened.
We need that behind the music on Scalebound, man. We need that documentary.
Yeah.
That tell-all, yeah.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen with Scalebound, because they had a game that would actually sell in Japan. Like, that game looked like a Japanese-inspired game. And Microsoft didn't even have to have a hand in it, right? They had, who do you call it? Make it Platinum Studios. Yeah. They can make a Japanese-based game, and that would have probably helped Microsoft sell more than 80 Xboxes a week out in Japan. Like 80. Their lifetime sales is like 80-something thousand Xbox Ones out there, and the Switch covered that along with the PlayStation 4 in 1 week. Like,
yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. And the PS4 sold over 5 million there. I feel like Xbox and Microsoft would love to have 5 million units, just find 5 million units out in Japan. And it's they just don't care. Phil Spencer flies over there, flies back, kind of shrugs his shoulders. Oh well. I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird that they won't go after that audience, and maybe they just don't care. And to say it's because it's an American thing is weird, because I have a feeling that something like the iPhone sells pretty well there. If I had to take a guess, I'm not sure what their big cell phone is over there, but I have a feeling iPhones do okay in Japan.
I'm willing to bet. I mean, I'm willing to bet you're right. That seems Apple has a pretty good stranglehold on like the world market, I think, right, when it comes to that stuff. Well, I shouldn't say stranglehold. I mean, obviously Android does well, but I mean, yeah, Apple's worldwide, right? So I think you're right. They
iPhone
probably have a good
6
presence
is
out there.
apparently the consistent best-selling smartphone in Japan.
And that's an American company.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So like to say it's an American thing is, I think, is short-sighted there. I think it's just an excuse. I just don't think they care about that audience, which is weird. Again, because that audience has really bled through into even the U.S. at this point. Disgaea leaves Japan, comes over here on the Switch, and sells really well. And that is a game that I would have never thought would sell very well. I pegged it as a niche game. Sells like 120,000 units here in the time span of the Switch for like the first month or two, and it's.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what would you refer to it as, like the otaku kind of
like the anime fan kind of thing?
Yeah. I think it's grown heavily in the United States. So Persona shows that it has. I think that Microsoft would do well, at least trying to dabble in that. Hire a studio, bring them internal, and develop a game that looks kind of like it has some influence. Really diversify your library. Don't just have Forza, Halo, Gears of War.
Do you guys think that if they were going to try, like, let's say you're right, and they're really planning like an actual next gen in the next couple of years, do you think that one of the ways they could be successful would be to just not call it an Xbox? Like, what if they ditched the Xbox name and made up something totally new?
That's tough because I think
maybe like the Xbox is what's tarnished in Japan for people, or
possibly. I think they've put so much money into the Xbox brand that they would probably keep it, but they could do some stuff in Japan. They could probably figure something out. I'm not really sure what they would do about a namesake there, but
similar to how like Nintendo was like, well, the Wii brand has become like a tarnished sort of image. So let's move away from that, and they reset their image, and it's like done really well. And it's like maybe that's a way that Microsoft could do well in Japan.
But the trick with Nintendo is it's less the console title as much as the company. Like the company is really what you're looking into, and I think when people look at Nintendo, they see the ups and downs it's going through to be like, the Wii U is kind of down here. Oh, wait, now we got the Switch. It's going back up. Whereas with Microsoft, I mean, if they just called it the Microsoft or something, like I don't think when people think Microsoft, they're thinking the platform, they're thinking just of that specific thing and any of the software type stuff that big companies would want to use. But then if you go into a store and see Microsoft Xbox, people mostly focus on the Xbox being that's a console, as opposed to the whole name.
Do you know why? Well, do you know why they call it the Xbox?
What for the more recent one?
No, just in general. Do you know why they even went with Xbox?
Because X is cool.
Because it was originally codenamed Direct Xbox because of DirectX on the PC. Yeah, so maybe they even are stubborn and be like, no, it's Xbox because DirectX. They could call it a couple things. I mean, it's not even running its own proprietary OS anymore. It's running Windows. So you could touch on that. You could do something there with that name, but that's not a bad idea to name it something different if you want. I'm trying to think how that would go over in the United States because we know it really well as the Xbox. This is supposed to be like their battleground that they're losing
that's
right
where
now.
it would hurt. You would think, right? Is like in the U.S. it might hurt them, but in Japan it might be the thing that they would need. So it's tricky.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough. I mean, you could even go as far as to change your colors. I know they're like green, but you can even change it to something else. I don't know what other color they changed to, but there's things you can do to appear different to companies. They want the Xbox One X to be like a premium thing, and it's like sleek and black and has like that little tinge of silver to the logos and stuff to make it look all pretty. There's a lot of things you can do. I mean, the Xbox One X isn't even it's not even green. They dropped green completely for that marketing campaign. From what I could tell, it's just black and like metallic silver. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a weird situation for Microsoft. It's a situation I'm glad I'm not in because I don't know how you fix that division right away. That is definitely a 5 to 6 year process. Like they would want to start working on the next generation for games now. And I hate to say it, but slowly kind of write off this generation and start building towards the next one. I think Microsoft desperately wants to get to the next generation like tomorrow.
Yeah. That's just it. Is I think that this Xbox One X needs to sort of just be their answer for the half generational step and shift their focus on the next Xbox, I guess, and sort of push development towards newer titles that are going to be releasing alongside that will appease both markets, East and West, because right now they don't have anything for the East, like nothing. Sony and Nintendo, they at least have those exclusives that appeal to Japanese markets. Microsoft or Xbox, on the other hand, they don't have that. They just have the games that are also available on those other systems as well. But why would anyone do that? Why would you get that? So it doesn't make sense. They need their own they need new IPs. They need their own Microsoft franchises. I think it would be really smart for them to create a hunting game. You know what I mean? Something like, have you guys heard of Dauntless? Like, it'd be so smart.
I just saw an ad for that today, but I don't know what it is.
That just went up. It's like Monster Hunter, right?
They need to buy that game.
Yeah. It's like $80 to get in right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I'm not paying $80 to get in that game.
It looks amazing. Like, that looks so cool. So I don't know, stuff like that. You know, they need to try new things, not keep doing the same power, incremental upgrades. Obviously, it's not working. So
yeah, like Monster Hunter is going to the Xbox One, but you would barely know it. Like they haven't made a big deal about that. If I was, yeah,
yeah,
I literally thought it was a PS4 PC thing. Wow.
Yeah, like they should be making a really big deal about that, right? They should be like, look, Monster Hunter's coming to the Xbox One. That's like, that should be a huge deal to them, and they haven't really said anything about it.
Maybe they legally,
they should be really loud about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe they legally can't advertise it because maybe Sony has like some sort of, rights.
Or maybe they feel like, well, what's the point in advertising for this when people in Japan just won't care anyway that it's on this system? Like, I don't know. It's weird.
I guess, but it's like the same thing. Like, for the longest time, people thought Destiny was a PS4 exclusive. They didn't even know it was on Xbox just because, Sony had all the marketing rights to it. So
I think that's every game. And it's interesting too, because people always talk about, why do companies align themselves with games, and what's the point of you get this DLC first on this system? Like, people think that that's really dumb, and I mean, it is actually kind of dumb. But I think that what it does do is kind of what you're talking about, where it's more about fooling the people that don't know any better. Mm-hmm. And some people are like, oh, well, that's okay. That game looks great. And apparently it's PS4 only. So I guess I need a PS4 to play Watch Dogs or Call of Duty or Destiny. And it's interesting you bring that up, because I think that's what it's all about, is the people who don't pay attention like all of us do and like really know the details. It's for the everyday gamer, the people that just walk into stores to buy stuff and just don't know.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And that's the majority audience, really. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the easiest people to market to as well. I could sell Xbox One X's to those kind of people for days. No problem if I was an associate. You just make up some of the dumbest like slogans that would get them on board with it. Like, I guess I was saying in the video earlier, you could tell them it's the most powerful system in the universe, and they would probably buy it. Like, that would be it.
In the whole universe?
You don't go small. You don't be like, this is the most powerful console in electronics right now, or even on the planet, in the universe.
And then when they buy it, you congratulate them. You don't thank them, you congratulate them.
Yeah, like you pull a string and like balloons.
That is sales 101, man. I like it. That's totally true.
That's all the stuff I would do to like sell stuff to people at like GameStop all day. You just make them feel really good about their purchase, and then they'll give you more money. That's all you do. Like, they buy that. Like, especially when like the dad or the mom comes in for Christmas time, and they have like a credit card with I'm going to spend $1,000, but they don't even know it, but they've already spent it. Like, when they walk in and they would ask me about something. So you just load them up with everything. But you try to sell to them. That's how Microsoft should really push this X. If they have any chance at selling this thing, they need to make it people believe that it is the strongest system they can get absolutely for the money. And technically it is. But they need to give them a reason to buy it.
I've heard, and I mean, I'll freely admit, I'll be the first to admit, I don't really understand tech specs. I bring it up on my own videos all the time. Like, it's not my bag. But from what I understand, and I'm sure you guys, for sure you, John, I know can like attest to this. From what I understand, it is apparently at $500, like competitively, it's not a good price because it's so much more expensive than the competition. But for what's inside of it, I hear $500 is actually a really good price.
And it's an outstanding price for what it is. And it has some of the coolest things in a console if you look at it from a spec perspective. I think Microsoft's going to take that to the next level in the next generation, where they start baking in APIs to a hardware level. And I think that's what's going to help them. That's why Forza 7 runs despite using 70% of the GPU power available, will still run at 4K 60 because of the baked-in API of DirectX 12. And I think they'll take that to the next level in the following generation, where things like Vulkan will be built in, and anything else that ATI can, or AMD, I say ATI because I'm an old person, but AMD can provide to them. And that's what's going to make it happen, because DirectX 12 games run fine on the Xbox One X. It's when they get outside of that it starts to dip and go crazy. I would not be surprised if Microsoft goes around and starts asking some of these companies what their custom engines are, and maybe start building them in at a hardware level, so that they don't have to put in a massive GPU like from Vega. They might even skip Vega. Don't even do that. And then all of a sudden the system can run 4K 60 without too much issue, because the API is built into the system at a hardware level. So there's less calls to the CPU and everything. It's very interesting how they built the Xbox One X. Again, it's too expensive, but it's too expensive for the mass consumer. People like me will buy it because I understand what's in it. But if I just said that to the mom who walked into Walmart, her eyes would glaze over.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that.
Didn't Respawn get Titanfall 2 to like run in 8K on the Xbox One X?
8K. Wow.
They got it up to like a little above 6K or something.
Okay.
But we even talked about how the people from Gran Turismo who are designing for the PS4 right now, the Gran Turismo Sport, that they are also designing the car models for 8K for the next generation, is what they said.
Okay.
So you might, but yeah, no. Titanfall 2 Respawn was able to get it running at like 6K 60 frames on the Xbox One X.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. Yeah,
Yep.
Especially the frame rate. It's crazy.
So,
Yeah, and that's a good looking game too.
Yeah, it is. It didn't sell well, which is weird, but it's actually a good game.
Sad.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a great game.
It is good. But it's a weird time for Xbox. There is definitely a problem there, despite you'll see people who say there's not a problem. There is, and they're very fortunate that Microsoft has as much money as they do to find themselves out of it right now, if they can. I think they can. If they do it right. That's the thing. I feel bad because I think Phil Spencer actually cares about the entire Xbox division. I think he genuinely wants the entire thing to do well. I feel like, and this might sound crazy because we're talking about Microsoft, I feel like there are people above him who are cutting them to a budget right now. I think they have a budget set, and they're like, listen, this is what you have for this year. Next year you can spend more, but you decide to spend all of the money on the Xbox One X development. And I just feel it's just weird, because before, remember, Microsoft was buying out marketing left and right. They were buying studios. They're bringing studios in, and now all of a sudden they're shutting down Lionhead Studios, right? They're canceling Scalebound. It's very weird. And I feel like there's a budget there.
It's a good point, because if you like take a step back from it and think about it, you would actually think Microsoft would be one of the first companies to never have the problem of leaving the industry, because they easily have the most money and like the most capital of any of the three major players. So like, why would they be struggling to make good games and to get developers and studios on board? I mean, it would almost have to be something weird internal that's shaking up the way that they run the division, kind of like you're saying. And I also agree with you about Phil Spencer, because I think he's a really good guy that probably believes in the Xbox brand. And I feel like he's probably somebody who's really proud of the improvements he made when he took over, because he sure as heck righted that ship in a lot of ways and did a really good job. And for a while, people were really happy with the Xbox, and it was selling well. And I actually still think it's a great machine. The library isn't all that great, but I do like my Xbox One. I think that he knows that there is a pretty decent product there. So I think you're right. He probably would love to keep it going and likes what he gets to do for Xbox, but something has to be like strangling it. Like, kind of like you're saying, because why would Microsoft struggle? If anything, they should just be able to throw money at anyone and be like, oh, Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive to Xbox. Here's all the money you need to make it happen. But they're not doing that stuff. So it's weird.
Yeah, I think it's been very telling when numbers come out for certain third parties, though, like Kingdom Hearts, for example. I don't think it's going to sell super well on the Xbox One.
Doubtful.
I think there is a certain amount of money that's asked for if they can project how many sales they will lose, and to take that game away from a system like the PS4, where I can see that game selling over 5 million units easy on the PS4. Possibly that'll probably approach 10 million, maybe more. just on the PS4. I think there's a lot of money that gets asked for, and they go, well, we could use this money somewhere else, and then they just don't do it. I think that's, again, it's they have to figure out where they're putting the money, because they have to explain it to investors eventually, and that's the thing. So yeah, but did you guys see the leak for the Xbox One, where apparently it's going to be announced at Gamescom, I guess tomorrow during their live stream that they're going to be having, which hopefully they have games to show, by the way. It's not just, hey, you can go pre-order our Xbox now. There is a Project Scorpio edition that is going to be launching.
Project Scorpio edition.
Yes, apparently it's going to be like the Xbox One Day One edition. Remember how that came out and it had Day One printed on the controller and everything?
Yeah. Do you get an achievement with it? With the Scorpio?
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't even think of that. But apparently it's going to have like a textured kind of style to the top of it, and then it's going to say Project Scorpio, I believe, on it on the controller and then on the front.
That's cool. I like
which
that.
Which is cool because that means I'll be getting that. But
yeah,
it's interesting. That means I wonder if that means I can still call it Project Scorpio on the front. It's interesting to do that. It's, in their words, it's for the biggest fans. Is people are going to go out and buy it. I also think they want to make sure they can sell out all of the Xbox One X's, because I feel like in the back of their mind they're a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to see any surprises, any surprise games or anything like that from the event?
You know what? I would like to think that they did get some marketing for that THQ Nordic game that we saw leaked, Biomutant. I'd like to assume that they're going to show that off on their live stream tomorrow, and that won't just be THQ Nordic trying to show it off on the show floor. But I could be wrong, but because that's going to all systems. That's going to, according to the marketing we saw, it's going to
it was
PS4,
Xbox,
and PC, everything but the Switch. Yeah. So I don't know. I would like to assume they have something new to show there, other than just pre-orders. Like I said, I don't know how long they're trying to fill it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like one of their last possible chances to do that before the Xbox comes out. The One X actually comes out. You know, I mean, they could start to trickle stuff out maybe next year, which is fine, but it would be nice if they had stuff to kind of get ahead of the launch of the Xbox One X, especially with the Crackdown delay and all the damage that's done, you know, perception-wise. I would like to see some Xbox One games show up this weekend that look really great, you know, because again, I'd like to play my Xbox One more than I do because it is a good machine. So, and if Biomutant looks great and maybe they do the thing where it's like it is aligned with Xbox or something, or it's got free content that comes before it would come to PS4 or something, that would be really cool. But it would probably end up just coming to Windows anyway, so there's still that same old problem. It's kind of tough to anticipate, you know.
That was actually my favorite controller too. Is the Xbox One controller?
Oh, definitely. I totally agree. I mean, I love the Switch Pro controller, and everyone talks about how great that is, and it is great. But I stand by the Xbox One, man. I think it's a better controller.
It is a good controller, bro. I like the feel of it a lot. Also, I like the offset sticks. I'm not a fan of the PS4 sticks being right next to each other.
John, did you ever get the Pro controller or the Elite controller for the Xbox? I always forget if it's Pro or Elite controller.
I never did. I never did get the Elite controller because I had a hard time telling myself a controller is worth that much money.
But you can change out the D-pads.
Hey, I got it. I like it. I had one. I got one for Christmas like 2 years ago, or the Christmas that it came out. My girlfriend got it for me. It was like the only thing I wanted, and it was totally worth.
It's that good, huh?
Yeah.
So you can change the D-pad and you like I think the analog knobs. Is that right? You can do that too, or?
You can change the thumbsticks out, and you can change the D-pad, and then you can also take out, there's like triggers on the back that you can remove if you don't want them. So if you just want like one trigger, which is kind of how I used it, for like first person shooters, I would like use my trigger for my jump button, so I'd never have to take my hands off the sticks. And that is incredible. So nice. Yeah. So it'd be cool to see more.
We used to call that bumper jumper back in the Halo days.
Bumper jumper. I like that.
We would remap the jump button to the bumper, so that way you never took your hands off the sticks. You just did it that way. Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I like it when first parties kind of give that premium sort of treatment to their standard lineup of what they have available. You know, like there's the standard Xbox controller, and then there's a little extra something special if you guys want it. You know, it'd be cool if Nintendo did something like that. You know, with the Switch itself, even would be cool. So
I think Shane said that was like one of his favorite controllers too, was the Xbox One Elite controller.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so we do have Gamescom this week. this week.
Hey.
Starts technically kind of starts tomorrow because Microsoft's jumping ahead again like they did E3. They're doing a Sunday stream, which I'll be streaming, I guess, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. And they're going to be doing that. And then we have a couple other things. EA is going to do Gamescom, which means they'll probably show Madden, they'll show NHL, they'll show FIFA, maybe more for the Switch. I'm not sure. And then there's, of course, Battlefront 2, which was leaked showing space battles. They showed that, where they're flying around in ships and everything. There was leaked footage for that. I think that's what they kind of wanted to show there without that getting out there. Blizzard will be doing streams. That is on Wednesday. Let me go down the streams real quick, actually. So Xbox is Sunday. That's tomorrow. EA is Monday. Blizzard is Monday and Wednesday. Nintendo is Wednesday and Thursday. So I'll be streaming. I'm streaming one of those because one of them 6 a.m. here, and I'm not doing that. But East Coast, yeah, okay, that's 9 a.m. on Wednesday is Mario Odyssey. Is what they're going to be showing off. More than likely, hopefully, a new world. And Bethesda, Ubisoft, and Bungie will all be there as well. Which means Bungie will probably be there with Destiny too.
Well, historically at Gamescom, they've always shown new trailers for Destiny, so it's probably what we're going to see.
Yep, probably one last trailer, obviously, before it comes out next
We're getting the PC beta soon, right?
They said the focus.
Yes.
Someone said the focus for them was going to be showing off the PC aspects of it, since it is close to the beta for PC, which should be coming up.
You guys going to jump on that, Evan and John?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. It'll be fun. Evan, can it be any worse than PlayerUnknown, Evan? Come on.
Maybe.
I'm so down for some
I would
Destiny.
love to hear how that
make a
game
fire
actually
team.
plays in 60 frames per second, so I'd love to hear from you guys. My PC would probably melt if I tried to play that game in 60 frames per second, so that's not for me. But I do love Destiny, so I'm really curious what that's like if you guys get to play it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Destiny fan, but I totally skipped the betas. I just didn't have time to play it for the second Destiny. But there
wasn't a whole lot to do, so
yeah, I'm just excited to get it running on the PC.
Yeah,
and just see what
August
that looks
29th.
like.
August 29th. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be up for 2 days, but yeah, I think that'd be cool to jump in on that. We can do that. Maybe I can even stream it. That'd be fun. Let's see. But wait, Rob, did they have like competitive stuff? I didn't play Destiny 2, unfortunately, on the PS4 either.
Sure, on the beta, you mean, for Destiny 2?
Did they do like competitive matches against each other in the beta, or was it just
Yeah,
like
they did.
Crucible, yeah.
Yeah, and they had like 2 newer modes, and then they had like one kind of campaign mission you could go through. And I mean, I know Philip, you said you didn't play it, but it was cool. It was good. It was good for what it was, but it wasn't as expansive as what I remembered the first Destiny beta being. And I actually played that on the PS3 before I got my PS4. At the beta for the first Destiny, and that was a little bit more like open world. They just drop you in the world, and they're like, "Here's a map on Earth. Just do a couple things in it and let you kind of go." And this one was a little bit more restricted.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, man. Philip, that's the same day that Mario Rabbids comes out.
Oh man.
I mean, it says it doesn't conclude until the 31st.
Oh really? Well,
Yeah.
Still, I mean.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it depends on if we have to do anything then, or if we'll already have like stuff out for it by then.
That's true.
That's what it comes
very
down to.
true. Yeah.
They probably did that on purpose, man. They're like, "You don't want to play that Mario stuff. Here's the Destiny. This is way."
Yeah. Oh man, that's gonna be interesting. But I mean, are you guys expecting much to come out of Gamescom? I didn't think there'd be a lot, but then we see that leaked scan from a magazine that shows Biomutant, which actually looks interesting because it's different looking.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that scan.
Oh, really? Oh, it looks actually
Yeah.
pretty
You
cool.
see it.
Yeah, it's actually pretty.
It looks like
Okay.
Rocket Raccoon on steroids, man. It's pretty crazy.
Nice.
But it's just like art though. It's not like a gameplay shot. It's just like an artist's drawing of the character. And like John said, it's got the logos for PS4, Xbox One, and stuff on the bottom. But it's pretty cool, man. It's
That's
just like
exciting.
this crazy old raccoon.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty neat. Here we go. I think I can do this. Let me see. There we go. I can probably I could probably do the thing I did before. We did the screen share, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's see. How do I grab the?
Yeah, and I think I even saw it. I think John, did you post it on Twitter? I think that's how I saw it. Or?
Yeah, I posted it on
popped
Twitter.
up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You see that?
Oh
Yeah, there it
wow.
is.
That looks
Oh, no,
so
it went away.
cool. That
Oh,
looks
it went
way
away?
cool. Wow.
Oh, because Philip was talking. There it is. Yes, that's Biomutant. It's coming from THQ Nordic, PC, PS4, Xbox One, sometime in 2018. I assume that's what that. What's that mean next to it? Anfang? Does that translate to like?
Probably
That's a
arriving.
month.
Okay,
What did you
arriving in 2018. But yeah, the whole point is apparently it's a post-apocalyptic kung fu. I don't know. Is that like a? I don't even know. Is that like a because we were kind of talking about how it looks very similar to Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, if he like was in the Far Cry world and just messing everyone up.
I like the idea here because that could actually be kind of interesting.
I mean, it's all about what it plays like, though, right? Like, is it like a beat 'em up, or is it a shooter, or is it a something different? That's
crazy. Actually pretty important. Yeah. What is it going to be? What is it actually going to be? Right. Yeah.
I think at this point in gaming, we're past the cover sells it. Don't look at anything else moment. YouTube exists.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I assume is that's an ad, which means we probably have trailer or gameplay this week at some point. And I assume they'd want to get on one of the bigger guys' stages. It's not going to be Nintendo, obviously. I assume they'll show up on Microsoft's stream tomorrow with that. So that's my hope anyway. But THQ Nordic is they're an interesting company, very confusing company. They have, Evan, you were even saying they have different studios, or they have all this stuff happening.
Yeah, I think they just gathered up all the chunk of the studios that collapsed after THQ. I'm still kind of worried about it because I haven't seen anything really impressively creative come out of them yet. Because even though, THQ did have their droves and droves of just games no one wanted to play, there were a lot that came out of them that I really liked. The Darksiders series, a lot of the stuff Relic put out through them. It was exciting because it was different. And now I'm looking at Nordic, and so far I haven't really seen anything all that impressive. It looks like rehashes or just different artwork for stuff. So maybe this will be different. Maybe it'll be interesting.
I like the idea of it because it looks different. But again, we need to see how it plays because it might just be another Far Cry, like you guys are talking about. It might just be another open world, run to this point, capture it, run to the next point, capture it. But they have a chance to introduce like interesting characters here. I don't know. At least it looks different. It's not like a Marine with a gun, running or something.
That's actually true. Like the name itself being Biomutant, kind of, it almost like tells a story a little bit in the title. Like if they're making such a point of making the characters these weird mutant critter things, like there's got to be something, hopefully that kind of hooks the gameplay also. Otherwise it would just be, like you said, just a soldier with a gun. But it's like definitely not that. They went with Biomutants, so hopefully there's something cool to make the gameplay unique.
It also kind of sounds like it could be like a Super Nintendo game name or something
like
that.
Yeah, like straight up sounds like Mutant League and all that.
Yeah,
How awesome would it be if it came out and actually was like a 16-bit brawler and that was like their big it's like a retro game.
That would be awesome.
Man. I don't know. I hope it's good. It's 2018. Another game for 2018. That's what I think we're gonna hear a lot of now. Our games coming out next year. That's the way it is, which is fine. I hope we see some really cool games get announced at Gamescom. We'll have to see what happens, though.
Yeah, I can't think of the history of Gamescom and how often I remember new games actually coming out of it. I know that has definitely happened in the past, but it's hard to remember like what the actual lineage of like straight up surprise game reveals is from Gamescom. I don't know if you guys could think of how often that's happened, but it would be great.
Trying to think of anything that was ever really announced at
I'm going to throw out something wacky, and I could be way, way wrong here. So if I'm wrong, don't laugh at me. But wasn't the Wii remote first revealed at Gamescom? Is that where that came? Because that was like not an E3 thing when they first showed the controller for the Revolution, and Iwata was on stage. I have a feeling that was actually at Gamescom, which obviously would have been like 11 years ago or whatever. But so that's a pretty big thing, if that's true. I don't know.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Apparently, Square Enix is teasing some big stuff. So. The Tokyo Game Show. That would make more sense to be a Tokyo Game Show.
Was it TGS? Was I wrong?
That'll just make more sense, like you're saying, because since that's like more like obviously the Japanese based crowd.
But in my brain, I just felt like it was Gamescom, so I'm super curious. But if I'm wrong, then that doesn't really help the case for Gamescom. So
I'm just trying to think of anything. You're right. If anything really ever big was, let's see, notable announcements.
It's usually
they announced the PlayStation 3 Slim there.
Yeah, but it's usually nothing like truly amazing. Gamescom being like the European, it's the European E3. It's more for the European companies, especially not the grander companies. It's usually the third parties, the smaller ones specifically.
Resistance 3 was announced there.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Anything really big? No, it's 2012. Nothing there. I'm trying to think of anything really. I'm just looking through.
It's also always been kind of more open to the public, right? Whereas E3 was closed to media as of just this past year, right?
I think you're right. Yeah, Ratchet and Clank All for One was announced there at one point. That's back 2010 though.
So because it's more public, I feel like maybe they sort of save those announcements for more media-driven events like E3.
345,000 people attended last year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge event.
It's massive. It's like one of the biggest conventions in the world.
And it's indoor and outdoor too. They have whole outdoor sections for people to settle up.
Fantastic. I hear, yeah.
Evan, you actually got invited to go there, Evan.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. That email was cryptic.
Yeah.
There's only one way to find out, man. You just got to fly out there and see if they let you in.
Oh, man. I wouldn't mind going to Gamescom one time. That's maybe. I always say it, but maybe next year. That's what I'm going to E3 is next year, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to E3. I'll just show up and just kind of like check everything out. Just like walk around the booths and everything. Were they serious about that, by the way, Philip? Would they not let you like walk around the booths or do anything crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty controlled, I would say. I would say it's a very controlled environment, but still it's a lot of fun. You're very free to do whatever you want.
How would you compare it to when you went to the Nintendo event? Because you went to the public Nintendo event, didn't you?
Yes.
The one with the Switch before it came out.
Yes, I went to both. I went to the media Nintendo event, and then I went to the public Nintendo event. The media Nintendo event, I just kind of I just showed up. No one asked me for my name or badge or anything like that. I just walked in. And so I just was there, which was cool. And then the next day I went again as public. And it's totally like night and day. Like when you're there as media, there's no lines really. You can go up, hang out, talk with people, talk with representatives. They'll like, be very conversational with you about whatever, the game is. But when you're there, like with other people and there's a lot of people there, obviously there's long lines, very noisy. It's a totally different environment, and it's kind of hard to sort of focus in on a game. So if you ever get a chance to go on like, a more quieter event, like a media thing, it's much better, I would say.
Yeah, and I'll add too, like I also was able to go to the media event in New York for the Switch as well. So that's awesome to hear that you got to go. And that you got to go to both days, because I didn't go to the fan one, but I did go to the media one. And to kind of build on your point, I remember talking to like the main dev that was showing off Fast RMX at the time. And he was super cool. He was talking to myself and my other friend who's also a YouTuber gaming with me. He got to go too. Like he was like my +1. And we were just talking to him, and he kind of said sort of what you said. Like he kind of struggles sometimes with like the media only stuff, because like some of the media guys, like the bigger guys more, like an IGN and a GameSpot, they're so much less into the fun of it all. And he said that he was really big on when when it's more of like a crowd that's really just the gamer and the fan and the consumer, because they're excited. They want to talk. They want to ask the questions. They're having fun and jumping around and pointing and laughing at all their games. And it was a neat little window into kind of like what that can sort of be like, because that was the first thing I ever got to do that was like that, by the way. And it was interesting to hear him kind of describe what those events can sort of be like when they are a media-focused thing, like whatever, a couple weeks ago, Nintendo flew people out, a bunch of guys to play Metroid, right? Like they literally flew some of the big sites out there probably to Washington to
fly
do
me
that.
out.
Yeah. I would have cried if that actually was offered to me, man. Like, oh my gosh. But it's probably the same thing where it's so much more about, well, we got to capture this. We got to capture this. What's the hard detail here? What's the hard detail here? And that's like sometimes less fun for the people who make the games, because they don't get to see people get excited about the games. They just want the hard facts to put up on their website. And so it was just really kind of interesting to hear that kind of duality. And it's neat to hear that when you went to the fan event that there was so many more people, because I didn't really see what that was like. But I would wager it was probably a little bit more kind of chaotic and hectic. And
it's chaotic, but it's cool to see the excitement of all these people, like, excited to play new games and new Nintendo stuff, or just any kind of new games. It's cool to share that excitement with other people. Whereas when you're there with media, you're absolutely right. Like when I went to the Comic-Con thing, Nintendo got me into their Comic-Con event day before it opened it up. And so it was basically me, IGN, GameSpot Nintendo Life was there, and then a couple other bigger companies. But me, like little old me, and IGN, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? This is insane, you know, like I can't believe it. But it was all like I wanted to go and run around and play everything and hold everything and touch everything like I was in Disneyland. But it was very clear that everyone was like, you know, walking around like
straight-laced and just totally they're all business. They're all business.
Exactly. It's very businessy, you know, it's a different world. So I personally like, you get to play more on media days, but I think that it's funner to go and hang out with people and get to talk with people and get excited with the games.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
You know,
I also had,
I was fortunate to go to I won't take up too much more time, sorry, but I did get to go to E3 way back in 2004. Which was obviously a whole different time, like way different gaming industry, way different. That was like 6th gen was like rocking and rolling. And it's interesting now because this year they did the open invite thing for the fans to buy tickets and you got to go check that out. 2004 was a lot of fun because that was when it was like insider only. But back at that time, and this was how I got to go too, was they were letting a lot of like just like retail folks in. And I worked for GameStop for like 3 years in like the 6th gen from like 2002 to 2005. And so I was able to just be like, oh, like I'll just sign up for this thing on this, you know, dial-up website for E3. And then sure enough, I got approved and my girlfriend at the time got approved because she worked at a DVD store. It was great. And that was a great time to go. Resident Evil 4 was there. Devil May Cry 3. Halo 2 was behind closed doors. We weren't cool enough to go check out Halo 2. Because it was a whole mystery. At the time E3 happened that year, no one had ever seen Halo 2 publicly. It still was like not even a screenshot had gotten out. And man, we wanted behind that curtain so bad, but they were like, you ain't getting back here, kids. Like, get out of here. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I would love to see what it's like nowadays. I'm jealous you got to go this year. But back in 2004, it was really, really fun. It was really, really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I need to go to E3 finally. I need to make that happen eventually.
Yeah, it always...
I'm surprised you haven't gone.
You're going next year. You're going next year. Even if I have to go and pick you up myself and bring you back here.
Yeah, they need to let me behind the curtain, though, or I'll just wander back there on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be like the slower friend who just accidentally wanders into all the good stuff, like that Philip has to watch. So, they can't blame me. I'll just keep wandering around.
Yeah,
I'll be like Mr. Magoo keeps like finding like all the good stuff. Like I'll just accidentally walk in the back and there's Metroid Prime 2 being played, or Metroid Prime 4 being played. I could play that role. That's my problem, though. I'd have a hard time not like trying to get into all the good stuff. I would not be good at not like waiting in line for that stuff.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I would look for all the good stuff.
Yeah, the lines are tough. When I went in 2004, one of the big things happening was both the PSP and the first DS was there. That was the reveal of the DS, the very first like no one ever saw it. It was this mystery 2-screen Nintendo thing, and that was another thing. It's like, what is that? And they had a line where they were bringing in groups of people, like how I saw they did with Zelda last year. I saw a video people posted of like they'd bring in like 50 people at a time to play Zelda or whatever. And they're doing the same thing for the DS. And that's where, is it Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario? I know Martinet's his last name. He was there. And that line to play the DS and see it, like just to see it for the first time, was at least 3 hours, if not probably 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and they were like singing the Pokemon theme, like in the middle of the floor. So for 3 hours, you're listening to people come up and sing Pokemon just to see the DS. But it was worth it in the end. It was cool. Very long lines, though.
I'm thinking next year we'll have probably some look at Metroid, and then if Pokemon's not out, some look at Pokemon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, next year would be a good time for them to show at least something, some
I'm
more
hoping next
information.
year's good. That's the hope. That's the hope. But yeah, so I need to find my way up to some of those places. I think there's Evan. What happens around here other than nothing?
Yeah, other than nothing. No, we in Boston, dude. We got PAX.
Oh yeah,
yeah. PAX East happens eventually. I don't know when that is though. I also don't think like Nintendo or anyone goes to it. They go to PAX. I know they're going to PAX West, but I don't know how many of the big companies go to PAX.
That's fine if Nintendo doesn't show at this one. I mean, they always had interesting stuff. I remember when we went, or at least when I went, when we worked with our buddy from work on his other site a long time ago. It's actually really enjoyable, especially if we can figure out beforehand who we can talk to and schedule things. Because talking to a lot of the developers there was interesting. And like you were saying with the media events, I remember we talked to one of the devs from Portal 2 when that was getting released. That was such a weird interview because it was just, like he read the book before speaking to us. So anything we said, he was like, well, this is what I was told to tell you.
Wow.
Really awkward. But
that game's 10 years old now. Portal 2. Isn't
Portal
that crazy?
2?
10 years. Yeah.
Game of the year 2007, I think. That does sound right.
But we got to talk to devs from like NetherRealms, which is really cool because that guy, we just talked about how he was woken up at like 2 a.m. and was asked if he had his passport because they were sending him to PAX that day. Like he just showed up, hopped in a taxi, and they drove him out there. It was fun.
Wow!
Like just meeting these guys and talking to them, the people from the Square Enix booth and everything, which we met again at New York Comic Con, and they invited us out to their Square Enix like side party at a bar that they apparently rented the whole top floor out of. It was just really fun.
Yes, that's pretty. I want to go to like the after parties and stuff. That would be cool.
Yeah, that's where you want to go.
Yeah, you get to meet a lot of people and everything there. Oh, they put it out. Okay, there you go. They actually put the trailer out for the Battlefront 2 official Starfighter Assault game.
Oh, did they?
Oh, wow.
It's out right now. I don't know how good it is.
That's my jam right there.
It looks pretty good. It's gonna be. It looks kind of similar to like how I'd want the different fighting to be in Battlefront. I don't know. There's not a lot of gameplay there. There's some. It's not a lot.
Is it mostly like CG stuff? Is that what
it's mostly
showing?
CG stuff. Yeah, I was hoping for more.
That's too bad.
It's not like Battlefront 2 where you would go to like surface to space or anything like that. But
which was so incredible.
Yeah,
especially back when that came out. Holy smokes!
That was because that was on the original Xbox and the PS2.
Yeah, 2005, I think.
What?
And so good.
There's a lot of stuff that can be done if they want to. Like they can do that. They can what they really need to do, and I really want to see, and I wish they would stop. Man, I really wish they would stop the MMO stuff. I would love to see another KOTOR since you're like a Star Wars guy. I'm sure you'd
man,
you know all about this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, KOTOR is easily the best Star Wars game ever made, and I've played them all, and it is so good. KOTOR 2 was pretty good, but KOTOR 1 was so special. And
what had that awesome reveal at the end?
It did. That was a huge reveal. And people want, now that they've like reorganized the expanded canon outside of the films, and that was obviously like made a lot of people angry. And through that, Darth Revan is like not technically canon as of right now, but they would be silly not to bring that stuff back in. And we haven't seen anything from like Old Republic era that's technically canon. To my knowledge, even the MMO, even though it's still like currently going, I don't think anything in that is supposed to be part of the current canon. So the whole look and tone and feel of the Old Republic is not anything that we can count in the movie universe right now, but it would be so smart for them to go back to that. And I tried the MMO and I was like, I can't do this, man. I need my story. I need my characters to get like invested in. I want to find breadcrumbs that maybe connect to the films, which happens like 1,000 years later. Like that stuff is so fun. And they'd have a really good opportunity. I mean, EA has to be doing something more with Star Wars. It drives me crazy. Like Battlefront 2, I think will be incredible. I totally believe in Battlefront 2, but they have 10 years of these rights, probably even 7 now. It's been a couple years since that happened. Like they should be having like one every other year, like a big Star Wars game. And so they really do need to start pumping out something. KOTOR 3 or bring back 1313 or any of that stuff.
Any more lightsaber action.
Yeah. Yeah, we want our lightsabers, man.
Why don't they bring out a game with the Obi-Wan movie?
Let's do Jedi Outcast 3 or something. Or
Jedi Outcast 3.
That'd be
yeah,
insane.
It would be 4.
Four. You're right.
Yeah, and you bring up the Obi-Wan thing, and that brings back flashes of the Obi-Wan game for the original Xbox.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play that?
Yeah, you would use the joystick to like do all the swinging and everything. From I remember.
Yeah, it was like a launch. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was a launch day Xbox One game. And it was like really, really bad, but I loved it so much because I was like, it's Obi-Wan. Because like Phantom Menace came out like the year before or whatever, so it was like a super fresh thing. It was really cool.
Oh man, that would be they need to do more with that Star Wars franchise for video games right now.
I'm dying.
That's probably the easiest franchise to turn into a video game, even.
Mm-hmm. And on the Switch, I mean, that is something that would be so great for the Nintendo market. You'd have to think like. Nintendo's struggling to get third-party stuff that would sell on their console. Star Wars is kind of that like shoo-in, obvious, gonna sell on any platform kind of game. So, I mean, it would be nice to see if EA was like, okay, well, you get FIFA, but also here's Star Wars, because duh, it's Star Wars and it's totally going to sell even to the Switch market. So I keep crossing my fingers for that one day.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Let's. I guess we can jump over to the NPD sales, ranks, charts, all that good stuff. Did you guys get a chance to see any of those this past week?
No.
As to where anything placed?
No.
It's easy. It's easy. I can let you guys in on this. Real quick, the rankings. This is, of course, all United States ranks. Number one for hardware was Switch. Then PS4 was right behind it. Behind the PS4 was the 3DS. The Xbox One did not make the top three. The 3DS allegedly sold 105,000 units. That would mean that the Xbox One probably dropped below 100,000 units. First time since 2014 that has happened to the Xbox One, since they announced 1 month that they were going to do a bundle that did not come with the Kinect 2 months later. So, of course, the following month, barely any Xbox One sold because everyone was waiting for that bundle that was $100 cheaper. So they're down pretty badly compared to the past couple of years. Software, Splatoon 2 is number one. Crash Insane Trilogy, Grand Theft Auto 5 is number 3. Final Fantasy 12, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Injustice 2, Mario Kart 8, Overwatch, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and NBA 2K17. Those are the top 10. So, yes, Splatoon 2 did manage to take the number one spot in the NPDs, along with the Switch. That's something that I would expect, though, into July with a game like Splatoon 2.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. I think that everything seems to be going on track as normal. You know what I mean? As it's been going the last few months. Switch is continuing to sell very well for anyone who can find one in stores. Yeah. But what's kind of surprising, though, is I've noticed that stock has been quite nice lately, at least in my area. The last 2 times I went into Best Buy in the last 2 weeks, my Best Buy had like 6 Switches. And that was like 2 weeks apart. So I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot more coming in. So I feel like, potentially there could be more sales.
Yeah, and it's weird because I agree with that, but I had a weird story today. I work on Saturday mornings, and I had to go and pick up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tonight because I never picked that game up, and one of my buddies just bought a Switch and has Mario Kart. So it's like, okay, I need to just finally buy this game. And so I called the GameStop near me from work, and they answered the phone with like, "Thanks for calling GameStop, where we have Switches in stock." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." But whatever. And then I asked, "Do you have Mario Kart?" "Okay, I'll be by later." And then when I went in, right before getting on the podcast, probably like 40 minutes before getting on the podcast to actually pick up the game, I was buying the game, talking to the girl, checking me out, and then one of the guys behind her answered the phone and was like, "Oh, thanks for calling GameStop, where you can order the Switch." And I wasn't sure if I heard him right. And so I just was like, "Oh, so you guys do have Switches in stock, right?" Just because I was curious. And she was like, "No, we sold out today." So like literally hours ago, they had Switches when they answered the phone. And then just a couple hours later, I went in to pick up Mario Kart, and they had already sold out of them.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow.
They get them, but they go quick.
They do go that fast.
Yeah. They come in, but they go just as fast as they come in. So at least that's what I've been hearing and seeing. So
yeah, then there was also reports coming out for how long the Switch has been out in Japan. If you take it back to, I think it was like the first 32 weeks of the PS4 compared to the Switch is technically outselling the PS4 in its first 32 weeks 2-1 right now.
Oh, so I've heard that 2-to-1 ratio. I didn't know that that's what that meant, though.
Yeah, so I think they said something about the PS4 having sold like 691,000 in its first 32 weeks or so, and the Switch is up to like obviously 1.4 something million now or something like that. So it's it's pretty drastic there, which means that honestly the PS4 will probably get passed by the Switch. Honestly, in like a year or so, like from now, like it might, depending on how the stock goes, it might get to that 5 million mark very quickly. And what's interesting about how the Switch is, you can actually look at the 3DS numbers to determine kind of the roof of the Switch there, and it could be a 20 million unit like region out there for the Switch, because the 3DS has sold 23
massive
million
for Japan. Yeah, that's huge.
I mean, Japan really likes the Switch. Like people are standing in these crazy lottery lines. Or it's like 5,000 people
in line just for a lottery ticket, right? It's crazy.
Give the people $300 to buy the Switch.
Yeah,
it's the weirdest thing, right? But that's the way it goes. And now Monster Hunter is out 2 days.
Just a few days.
In Japan? Yeah.
Is it the double cross? Already
double
came out in
cross.
Japan?
Yep. It's 2 or 3 days from now, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out. Are you gonna pick it up?
I can't read Japanese.
Yeah, Monster Hunter is super text heavy, so you just don't want none of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I already played the demo, and I already didn't know what I was doing. I was like,
I've considered it. I've considered picking it up just because I want a good game so bad to get into. You know what I mean? But
dude, Mario Rabbids is coming, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
That actually
But
looks like a good game. That's a game that Evan actually is like, wow, that game looks good. And Evan's a
Hopefully,
PC guy.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, from what I've played of it, it seems like it's going to be great. But I just hope that it's long enough to last. I hope that it's at least 20 hours or something like that.
So you played it at E3, probably? Is that right?
I played it a little bit at E3, but I played more of it at Comic-Con. Comic-Con was where I really got to spend some time with it.
Well, did you see
Was
the?
it-
Go
I
ahead,
heard
Rob.
that it's like one of the best looking like games ever, like even possibly better than Mario Odyssey. Like, would you say that or?
They're very close in how they look. They're both beautiful. They both don't look like they're running on a weak system at all or
Sure.
anything like that. And as far as like resolution is concerned, I played Kingdom Battle in both handheld mode and on the TV, and it looks identical to me. It's like 720, 1080p.
It's
like,
it's
beautiful.
it's 720p handheld, 900p docked.
900p docked. Okay. To me, honestly, I mean, to me, it looked like it was 1080p, but I guess it's 900.
Honestly, most
Yeah.
people won't be able to tell, even though they say they can.
Yeah.
They won't.
But graphically speaking, the game is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks like Nintendo made that game. It doesn't look like, Ubisoft or a third party
Like a
made
third
it.
party or
Yeah, it looks like a first party Mario game. Just a different kind of Mario game. So I think it's going to do very well. I really do.
The thing about I got to give the edge to Mario because they have it's running 60 frames, whereas the Rabbids is running 30, and just that look and that feel to me is a little better. But honestly, it you don't need it for a tactics based game. That's just if I had to pick. That's the only reason I'd give it to Mario Odyssey in that case.
Yeah.
Right. Mario Odyssey, like, there doesn't seem to be a lot from what I've played of Odyssey. There doesn't seem to be like a crazy amount of things going on screen, like too many enemies going on at once. So the game itself doesn't have to render too much. Like the actual open world, like New Donk City, like it's not a vivid world, It's just a world with some cool things inside of it. It's not EA. So it's not too taxing on the hardware, which makes sense for them to get it in 60 frames per second. But, those games are going to be amazing graphically and gameplay, mechanically wise. So
that's all we want are, good gameplay, good mechanics. That's all I care about really with a game like Mario. I don't go to Mario Odyssey and be like, all right, what kind of Unreal Engine 4 effects or, what kind of crazy shadowing are they using here? I'm more like, well, how do I, double jump off of this ledge to get over.
I'm curious about the motion controls for Cappy. Did you try that? Because doesn't the Joy-Con do that?
Yeah, they're good. They're really good. I mean, it's going to be a fun way to play at first, but I don't think that it's going to become people's primary way to play. But you are definitely more accurate with the hat. So like,
is it like a frisbee kind of motion, or is it like a fishing kind of thing?
You can do it any way you want.
Do it.
You can do it like this way. You can do it that way. The best way to do it is just to shake your hand. And then like you can do like a small shake and that kind of just makes him throw the hat in front of you. But if you do like a really big shake, it makes him like spin it around. It's really intuitive controls.
That's cool.
So,
that's super cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun game. I'm ready to play that, but it's still not out for 2 more months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
That's okay. We get Metroid in just a couple of weeks, so I'm totally good waiting for Mario at this point. It's all about that Metroid.
Man. Metroid, yes. It's gonna be good. Are you gonna be playing it on a 2DS or on a 3DS?
Oh, 3DS. I mean, not only just because that's the one that I have, but I'm one of those total weirdos that likes the 3D.
Oh,
and
wow.
I play pretty much, there's not many of us, but I'm one of those guys that I'm like, I like to have it like a quarter of the way up when I play most of my games. And, some games obviously do the 3D better than other games. That's kind of the trick. Sometimes the 3D is just like really bad and you don't want to use it, but I like it. It's like, I have a 3DS because it is in 3D. So let me just use that. And I like it for most games. So, and all the reports are that Samus Returns is one of, if not the best game in 3D that has been made for the platform so far. So that makes me happy as a Metroid super dork. And also just because I like my 3D. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be cool. Like just the way that they're implementing the 3D technology and in the level design itself looks very interesting. Like I've seen 3D done well before, but I haven't seen it done like this. And it adds to the gameplay,
Like
and you'll see when you play.
Did you
it.
play that, by the way? Did you play Metroid 2?
I did, yeah. I played a little bit of
Oh.
Samus Returns, yeah,
Oh,
which
I'm
was
so
cool.
jealous.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely way more like an old school Metroid game. So if you playing Super Metroid, or if you grew up playing Super Metroid or anything like that, I mean, you're gonna be in love right away. So
Cool.
That's going to be interesting. It's good to see we're at least getting 2 Metroid games, but I think I want Prime more than anything else. But
it's all about
that's
Prime.
fine.
Yeah.
It is all about that Prime.
Fine. Man, well, we got a little bit of time left. Do you guys want to take any questions from the chat to see if they have anything we wanted to talk about? I guess if you want to take a look at the chat, Philip or Evan, just call anything out that looks fun to talk about is fine.
Let's see.
Let me see. Anything good?
It's mostly just down to yelling at each other at this point.
Chat's getting angry again?
In bits and pieces.
It is the internet.
Tis the internet.
Super Metal Dave with a question mark. Nothing. I don't know anything else about it. I've talked to him off camera, but he is very good at keeping everything close to himself.
Yeah, we've all poked and prodded him for anything.
We know nothing.
He just
Yeah.
keeps deflecting.
I was going to make a video talking about it further, but I was like, nah, I don't want to make it seem like I talked to him off camera or something, even if I guess right. So I don't want to. I don't want to do any of that to get anybody in trouble or anything. But he has not told me anything. So whatever he's heard through the grapevine or wherever, he has not told me. So he will eventually. He's been making a lot of tweets saying that I think next week he's picking people to help moderate because apparently his live stream is going to be controversial because the first announcement. Now he said this on his Twitter, so I can now say this because he told me this before. There are 2 announcements coming: one non-Nintendo, one Nintendo. And the first one is going to be non-Nintendo, and it will be apparently controversial to the point where he needs to have moderators in his live chat.
Wow.
What
WWE
that means, I don't.
action happening.
Yeah, what that means, I don't know. I have no idea what that means. But apparently it is a massive deal, whatever's going to be happening. I don't know if that's at a game level or if that's at like a company level. I don't know. I don't know if Nintendo's buying a company or who knows. Maybe Konami.
I love From Software, man. Those rumors go way back. That would be one of my favorite things to have happen.
That's a good point. Yeah, you could see something like that with From Software. It's possible.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Spawnwave, do you think Nintendo will unveil something big at the Game Awards 2017?
Nope.
Probably not.
Probably not. No, they. I think what they do last time they showed us some of Breath of the Wild. It was a quick trailer. I don't know what they would show us there because they don't have any big releases that I know of that's like that close to the that's guarded like that. But who knows what happens between now and then because that's not till December, right? I mean, that big announcement could happen and then we're on to the next thing, some big announcement or I don't know, game or something and that we're looking for. I don't think they'd show anything about Metroid there. Nothing probably about – they would probably wouldn't show anything about Shin Megami there. They probably wouldn't show anything about the new Fire Emblem there. So I'm not really sure what they would announce.
I mean, the only other things like that Kirby and Yoshi game are like games that are early 2018. Like maybe that?
They do have a history of making some like major announcements at weird times. Like when they announced just the existence of the 2DS. Like when that, they were like, oh, by the way, we have a new console. Here it is. Like whatever. So
buy it if you want, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows? I mean, they could just be like, "Oh, by the way, here's Smash Brothers, just a trailer for the Switch."
I like this
coming
one.
out next year.
Which indies do you guys really want for Switch? I went Golf Story.
Golf Story? Really?
Yes. That game looks awesome. You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it. Is that like RPG, like the crazy RPG golf game or something?
Dude, that? It's like golf mixed with oh gosh, what you call it? Harvest Moon or
like a life sim kind of thing.
It's pretty cool. It's like an RPG mixed with golf, mixed with Stardew Valley. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that trailer at all for it yet?
No, I gotta see it though.
I haven't even heard of it. Yeah.
Golf.
What?
Oh my
Nobody's heard of this game? What is going on? This is coming to the Switch.
It sounds like you can gather a bunch of firewood, get married, and then play a round of golf.
Here, I put the trailer in the chat.
Okay.
I can't believe people have never seen that trailer before. That's amazing. It's a cool game, and it looks good anyway. I don't know how to actually play, but it looks like a golf RPG. And one of my favorite golf games was actually on the Game Boy Advance, and that was Mario Golf or Mario Tennis because it had like full RPG elements to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, this looks so fun.
Right?
This looks really cool. Yeah. Dude, when's that coming out?
They said sometime this year.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. I guess that's a new game on my anticipated list. So yeah, Enter the Gungeon is a big one for me. What else?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, God, it's like there's so many of them. Miami, I always forget the name of it.
Oh, the
Hotline Miami. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then Stardew Valley, of course, is another one that's coming.
Yeah, Stardew Valley would be cool because it has that multiplayer aspect on the Switch. Someone's asking if we'll see Project Octopath at Gamescom. We might. Now I think about it, because Square's been talking the big game for Gamescom. So
I feel like they'd save that one though for Tokyo Game Show. You know,
that's possible. Yeah, just
because it would be a bigger audience over there for them. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. It could be Tokyo Game Show. They might be doing more PS4 stuff there too. I don't know.
That's true.
And sadly, I'm not good at this category because I just don't play a whole lot of indie games, so I can't even think of anything. I mean, I know Stardew Valley is a game my girlfriend would like to play on the Switch, but that's it's not a game that appeals to me too much. So I don't know.
Did you guys try playing Overcooked together yet?
No, I mean, I don't really exactly know what that game is. I've just heard everyone talking about it. And I've seen a couple screenshots, so I get the tone and the graphics and stuff, and everyone said it's really great. I should probably look into it. I mean,
yeah, you gotta be careful,
I have
though,
Implosion on the Switch, and I love that game. And Fast RMX. Those are the only two indie games I have. So, but yeah, Stardew Valley, my girlfriend would like, and I should look into Overcooked. You're right. I really should actually just.
It's fun. It has some performance issues that I think they're sorting out, but even so, you can still play it and get a pretty good experience. The problem is, you guys will probably start getting mad at each other because you can mess each other up pretty easily. It's really funny though.
Relationship over. I can't believe.
I was waiting for somebody to ask this in the chat because I've been researching it a little bit, and they asked when's the next Nintendo Direct. Now, believe it or not, this has been the longest we've gone without a Nintendo Direct since the Switch has been out. We're over so it was 43
right
days
after
before
E3,
this.
right? Wasn't there one?
There was, there was like a Splatoon 2 one, right? I'm thinking right.
Yeah.
Either way, the last time we had one, it was 40. It was longer than 43 days ago, and 43 days was the longest between directs. So we're basically now in uncharted territory for the Switch because we don't know when the next direct will be. We really don't, and it's weird that we haven't seen at least an announcement yet. But Nintendo is weird because they can announce a direct on Monday for Wednesday.
Yeah, they do that all the time.
Yeah, so seriously, we could wake up Monday morning and the tweet goes out that's like, "Hey, direct's happening Wednesday. Be there." It's like, oh,
well,
okay.
And, when you think about it, and I might be remembering my history wrong. You guys can correct me here if I'm wrong, but I think we notoriously do get one in August, late summer, early fall.
Yeah, we usually do.
And they do love to do game-specific directs. So that actually makes me wonder if maybe next week we would get an August direct for Mario plus Rabbids to really show that game off. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
trying to
maybe
think,
for Mario.
We've seen so much of it. I don't know, man. That's tough.
I don't know if we'd get a direct for that because it's not technically their game. You know what I mean? It's Ubisoft.
They did do it for Bayonetta, though.
That's true. That's a very good point.
So,
yeah.
This one actually has Mario in it. So, I mean, you still might be right, but it just kind of gets my head thinking, we're in that August time and there is a really big Mario game coming out. Or maybe just before Metroid or before Mario Odyssey at the end of October. But you're right. It's been a while. I could use another Nintendo Direct. That sounds really exciting.
Well, I think they need a Nintendo Direct because they have to tell us release dates for some games. Xenoblade doesn't have a release date. I don't think that's still something we're waiting for.
Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Xenoblade is still this year, right? Apparently.
Yeah. Apparently it's been rated, so it's it's on the way. Yeah, they rated it. They gave it a rating in Australia.
So that means that there's an announcement coming for that, which means that we can expect news for that at a direct pretty soon, I would say. Right?
I don't think that's something that they would just let trickle out on Twitter. I think that's something that they would pack in to a direct of some kind. Yeah.
We've seen their last two directs. I mean, they're very sort of structured. There's a formula there, and I feel like this next one is going to build off of that same thing. So we're probably going to see a mix of different games. Maybe we'll get something similar to what we got with I forget what month it was, but it was like right around the time when they were doing the ARMS Direct. They talked about a bunch of different games, you know. So
yeah, those are my favorite kinds. Like I appreciate the ones that are like super focused on a game. That is really great to get that stuff, but I like the ones like you're talking about where it almost has that like mini E3 sort of thing where it's like, here's 25, 40 minutes of like just a bunch of stuff and like, 10 games and a brand new trailer.
Same thing. Yeah.
I also like the idea of going into one without knowing exactly what you're going to get. That's what I like, is where they're very vague about it, and like because then you get the possibilities. You're thinking about it, and you're like, wow, that could be.
Sometimes though, Nintendo, as much as we love them, they can crush your dreams really quick because they're like a brand new Nintendo Direct. I'll focus on 3DS games coming out next month, and you're like, no, we want the big stuff, and so they do that stuff sometimes. So it'll be really interesting.
I just saw it. Juan said we need release dates for Payday 2, Monopoly, Rocket League, and Xenoblade 2. So,
Rocket League is a big one. Yeah.
There's
that's an indie game I'm excited for, by the way, to go to the indie thing. I'm definitely picking up Rocket League.
Someone asked what happened to Steep. Who knows?
Really.
I think I think they're having problems, like that rumors are saying, and honestly, I'm just saying this. They may as well move on from it. It's really not a game that's going to come out to the Switch and be like a crazy seller or anything. I think most people who want to play it have played it. So
I actually really want to play it, and I've passed on it on other consoles because not too long after it came out, they showed 2 or 3 months after at January, and I was like, oh sweet, I'll just get that version. So I've actually been like a fool holding out for that game, but I think you might be right, man. I just don't know that we're going to see it.
Silvio called out one of the ideas I had in a future video. I was going to build something for Microsoft to help them come back, and they named it in the chat. Skate needs to come back.
I was just going to say, I wonder if EA is going to finally do it with Skate, if they're going to bring Skate back and if they're going to put it on the Switch.
Skate 4. That was actually on my list of Microsoft games that they could buy.
That would be so radical. Since Tony Hawk, the revival of Tony Hawk fell right on its face planted. Well, it'd be nice to have Skate come back.
This is what's really interesting, and this is something else I was going to talk about. I was talking about now. A while ago, I talked about this a little bit in a video, and I think people kind of forgot about it. Tony Hawk was talking on Twitter and then on like a blog about how he was talking to a company that was different from the Activision, I think is who he was working with before. About a game that he was thinking about doing with them. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, maybe EA brings him in and puts him on the front cover of Skate 4.
That would be insane. That would be like worlds colliding kind of thing.
Tony Hawk's Skate 4.
Dude, Skate 4 featuring Tony Hawk, and he's right there on the front. Dude, that would sell a lot of copies.
It would. It would. That's a crazy thing. That's so crazy.
People
Dogs and cats living together.
People would think it was those two games put together, so it's like, oh, the best thing, it's like the best of both worlds. So
that would be awesome.
So much sense. I mean, people have wanted the return of Skate for the last, I think, 2 years now. People have been going crazy every single time EA posts something on their like social media. It's like people just in the comments, Skate 4. That's it. Yep. Skate 4, Skate 4. So I mean, I'm sure they're working on it.
It's probably being worked on. Yeah.
I'll even throw out another EA franchise I would freak out to see come back that's similar would be SSX, because that is one of my all-time favorite game series.
Yes.
And the one in 2011 was okay. It was an admirable attempt. I did like it, but it definitely didn't have the character and the flavor of like the older 6th-gen games. And man, they could bring that back today, and I think it would be really huge. If they made a good game, I think it could be really, really huge.
I agree completely. I think games like that, like snowboarding games, skateboarding games like Tony Hawk, SSX, those games are ready to come back now, especially on
extreme sports.
Switch. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, I think that it's time to see those games coming back. So
let's do it. EA, you can just have these ideas for free from us. We won't charge you. Just bring back SSX. We're cool with it.
Oh man, that's that could also be like a Jet Grind Radio from Sega. I didn't even think of that. Someone's talking about that Jet Set Radio.
Oh yeah, did you guys hear about Hover, Revolt of Gamers? Apparently that is running on Switch. The developers tweeted out a photo of it, and it might be talked about or it might be shown at Gamescom. So that's very much like a Jet Set Radio
I see it.
style
They got
game.
they got that running on the Switch, huh?
Yeah, it's like an open world type parkour free running game.
I see
you
it
can
here
actually,
on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah, you can download it on Steam, but there's a picture of it there running on the Switch. Obviously, it's just a picture, so you can't see the frame rate or anything like that. But it looks
it's already
awesome.
released. Like the game
Not out
already
yet.
exists. Oh, it's not out yet. Okay.
Oh wait, the game. I think you can play it on
Like
Steam right now.
you can buy it on Steam. Yeah.
It is on Steam already. Okay.
It's got great reviews. Yeah.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. So definitely check it out. I'm really looking forward to that. Super psyched about that. That news just broke like 4 or 5 hours ago, I want to say. So
the hover revolt of gamers, really?
Yeah. So if you're a Jet Set Radio fan, definitely look into that game.
That's interesting. If it does do that, I'll buy it on Steam and do a gameplay of it or something.
Do a gameplay of it, yeah.
So you should check it out. Yeah. I'll do that. I've been doing that with some of them. I did that with what was that? Evan? What was the fighting game we played?
What?
Brawl Hollow, right? You guys?
No, we didn't
Brawl
get Brawl Hollow. We did Brawl Out.
Brawl Out.
Yeah. I did that one to check it out. It was okay. I don't know. I just liked what you call it, the Drifter from Hyperlight Drifter.
Yeah, it needs a bigger roster, definitely. Hopefully, it achieves that.
Word is the guy from Cave Story might be going over there. So that's interesting.
Yeah, wasn't there like a 3D sprite of him or something like that found?
Yeah. Might be going there. Do we think Toe Jam and Earl will go on the Switch? I thought they were.
I think it was confirmed, right?
I thought they already. Yeah, I thought that was already confirmed, wasn't it?
I sure hope so, man, because that's begging for a Switch release.
I was positive. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's coming to the Switch. I was gonna say I was almost positive that was talked about for the Switch, a while ago. Yeah, like seriously, like a week after the Switch came out, it was talked about for it. Just haven't seen anything else for it. So. That's cool though. Yeah, I'll check that game out though, Philip. If they show that at Gamescom, like I said, I'll download it and check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
That sounds. I liked the Dreamcast Jet Grind Radio a lot. So
yeah, this is a good one.
That. Cool. So I guess that's it for tonight. Coming up on the 2-hour mark. So had some fun tonight, of course. Let's wrap things up then. Rob, where can they find you, man?
So again, my channel is called Rule of 2 Review. It's Rule of the number 2 Review, which is a super nerdy Star Wars reference, even though I talk 95% about Nintendo and games. But yeah, that's my channel. And it's just me doing the same thing that we got to do tonight. So that's it.
Cool. Very good. Very good. And then Philip, where can they find you, man?
You guys can find me on YouTube. You just search Philip, F-I-L-I-P, and I do a bunch of Switch content, Nintendo content, lots of accessory reviews. So if you like stuff like that, definitely check it out. And also on Twitter, twitter.com/PhilipMusin.
And don't forget to follow and sub him. He's got 3 Switches to give away.
Yeah, I'm doing a triple Switch giveaway.
You're doing more Switches? What's the goal for those Switches?
100K triple Switch giveaway. It's official. It's official. I am doing it. We hit the 50K mark with the last giveaway. It was a huge success. We did it in like 5 months, something crazy like that. Like 30,000 subscribers. So I think that we are more than capable of growing to 100. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. Thank you. I mean, it's all seriously just due to the amazing support that has been coming in, not only from, you guys, my fellow like YouTuber friends, comrades. I have so much to thank, John, SpawnWave, Evan, you guys thank you very much for that. But also just the community and everyone here in the chat and all that stuff. It's a group effort, it takes a village to raise a YouTuber.
Sure. Yeah. So three Switches at 100,000 then. Awesome. That'll be cool. That'll be cool, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's awesome. So, all right, I guess that's Oh, Evan, where can they find you, man?
Well, I mean, anything on SpawnWave. Like I usually help out with things here and there, assets, just artwork stuff, and I'll just link it in chat. Kimbrick's Project is my art channel for my illustrations and such, and that's also my Twitter handle and my Twitch channel and all that. And then there's also Kimbrick's Games, which is more niche. Its core focus is on a arena-style game called Gigantic, which I have fallen in love with. So if you wanted to check that out, maybe learn a little bit about that, you can also go there.
Cool. All right, very good. Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight, every Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you guys next Saturday night then.